All right. All right. So I was back home in Louisiana last summer, visiting Mama, and she's got this rooster, right, named Clarence. Now, Clarence thinks he's the sheriff of the whole dang yard, strutting around like he's got a mortgage on the place, pecking at anything that moves, even Mama's ankles, which, bless her heart, she just swats at him with her cane like he's a mosquito the size of a chihuahua. And it got me thinking about stuff like how everything's got its own pecking order, even in a chicken coop in the middle of nowhere. And that reminded me of, everything kind of has an order, things like trust and relationships. Like, if you're going to build something solid, you got to lay that foundation early, right? Kind of like Mama building that fence. Every little piece helps to keep those chickens in. Same goes in your marriage. That trust is going to take its time, but eventually, those birds are going to be flying and the chickens from next door is going to be watching and the neighbors' chickens all looking. So basically you're laying bricks, except those bricks are like honesty and openness and maybe a little bit of forgiveness thrown in there. Because let's be real, we all screw up, right? We all eat the corn, we're all guilty. Some people like Clarence think he is getting away with everything. But the real thing is that if you ain't got that trust, then your relationship is like Mama's old shed. One big gust of wind and it's all gonna come tumbling down, chickens and all, leaving you standing there scratching your head wondering where you went wrong. So you gotta protect your foundation and nurture those chickens like the way she always says, you gotta water it so those beautiful feathers can come flying out. And if the thing is, sometimes that's a lesson I have to remember, just like Clarence and Mama. Sometimes those roosters are right behind you when you aren't looking. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Veen grew up in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake, more humidity than a frog's armpit. Had this buddy, Earl, bless his heart. Earl thought he was a Ninja Turtle. Not like the cool kind, like the sewer rat kind. Always wearing green, heading in the ditch, eating whatever crawled by. Now Earl, he was convinced he was saving the city, even though the biggest crime we had was Mrs. Higgins' cat stealing Mr. Thibodeau's shrimp. Man, tell you something, I'm dating this gal, right? Think we're serious? She ain't shaving her legs no more like Sasquatch down there. She bought herself one of them buzzing gizmos. Meanwhile, I got an Xbox, so, we spending less time together. I'm slinging digital sweat in NBA 2K. She's exploring the Mariana Trench solo, but bottom line, we're both thinking about LeBron, which is weird, right? Women, man, there's something else faking the big O like it's nothing, but can't fake being happy at Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws. Come on, smile for grandma. Every time we get busy, she's all, you made me come, like I'm freaking David Copperfield or something. And I'm like, well, I was mostly just laying there, but all right, I'll take the credit. It's like I go to the barber shop, tell him, just hold the clippers still, rub them on my head like a love-starved Siamese, and then act surprised when I walk out looking like Brad Pitt. And this ain't no fling. I'm on the road. Gotta be faithful, folks. Ask Theo how you do it. All them temptations. My secret? Ain't a single woman ever even looked at me sideways. That's how I stay faithful. It's a daily struggle. A constant battle against nothing. I'm on a plane, hot tamale walks my way, and I'm praying. Please, Lord, let her sit next to anyone but me. She does. Silence for 3 hours. And I'm feeling like Gandhi by the time we land. Like I just won a Nobel Peace Prize for being utterly ignored. Used to hit up strip clubs. Now I'm on a quest. Want to be a mentor, a good influence. Tried to join Big Brothers. They wouldn't let me near a kid. Messed up the interview real good. They ask, what's a bad example of a big brother? And my dumbass says, child molester lady looks like I just kicked her puppy. She meant impatient, and I thought we were playing for keeps. They ask what I bring to the table. I say patience, which is the opposite of pedophilia, folks. The willingness to wait. That's a joke, dark as my Uncle Earl's moonshine, but structurally sound, worth a chuckle. Gotta laugh at the messed up stuff. Keeps you from going completely bonkers. This past few weeks, news been wild. Remember that little feller got chomped by a gator at Disney World? Seemed like the highlight of the year, didn't it? ISIS even tried to claim responsibility. That's when you know things are truly sideways. Alligators working for the bad guys, Lord have mercy. Speaking of scary, Delta Airlines, I despise them. Except for them Biscoff cookies. Them are good, damn good, dunk 'em in coffee. Eat 'em plain, versatile little biscuits. Reminds me of biscotti, all pretentious, like Chips Ahoy went to Europe for a summer Delta, though. They stole 20,000 miles from me. Hard-earned miles from flying coach and catching the herp from the armrest. I call, lady on the phone says, we don't do complaints no more. You got to email and it'll take 6 months, 6 months. She might as well spit in my face. Then she adds, also, your mom is a... Well, she didn't say that exactly, but that's how her words made me feel. See, that's therapy. You can say whatever you want as long as it's how you feel. I tell my girl I ain't calling you crazy, honey. I'm just saying, based on your actions, you'd fit right in at the funny farm. It's insensitive if you disregard my feelings. That's what I'm saying. Get transferred to another lady at Delta. Worse than the first says my miles are from 2010. They didn't start keeping track till 2011. Sorry, with an AZ at the end. The most insincere of all apologies. That's the kind of sorry you give when you're standing over a body at a funeral. And I'm all, this ain't fair, she says. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I say, I feel like you're being condescending. And she asks, who am I? And I'm not proud of what I said next. I said, I hope you die in a fire. I'm just reporting the facts, trying to be honest. In my defense, I didn't say, I hope I kill you in a fire. Just said, I hope. Better world type thing. Maybe a treatable form of cancer would be fair. You know, treatable. I ain't a monster. She shows up to the hospital. They say, your insurance ran out in 2010, so sorry. And I'm like, well, karma's a Biscoff cookie, ain't it? Man, let me tell you, back in Tickfall, Louisiana, we had this fella, Cletus, thought he was a dang rooster, crowed every morning at 4 a.m. sharp, woke up the whole dang town. But seeing these old photos reminded me of something equally bizarre, you know? Like here I am looking all young and spry with Simon Rich and America Ferrera, writing these dirty sketches for SNL, practically living in that writer's room, fueled by stale coffee and desperation. It was like wrangling a greased pig at a church picnic. I swear Seth Meyers would pop his head in like a curious raccoon, peeking into your trash can. Then he'd give us that, no look. You know, that polite but soul-crushing disapproval only a head writer can deliver. We even cooked up a Thanksgiving card with a picture of us, looking all festive and innocent, said Happy Thanksgiving Seth on the front. Then you open it up and it just says we each other. Real classy stuff, reminded me of the time I tried to teach my hound dog Blue to play poker. Didn't work out too well, he kept eating the chips. Anyway, seeing that drag brunch sketch written by this comedic genius named James Anderson. Funniest dude I ever met. No offense to Cletus the Rooster. This guy was a goddamn comedy savant. He'd waltz into the rewrite room oblivious to what we'd been slaving over for hours, and drop some truth bomb joke that was funnier than everything we had combined. Pure funny bones. I tell ya, like he was hooked up to some divine comedic mainframe, just spouting perpsies and comedic gold. Being in that sketch wearing heels on concrete felt like walking on hot coals after a Sunday service at the Pentecostal church. Shout out to the costume department though, they worked them heels low and stable, they judged based. So there's no tears in the hips cause you know, as a modern comedian I can't be falling. Gave me a whole new appreciation for drag queens. And for finally just saying, come on, let's get a cab even if Uber's 4 minutes away. Made me feel like a calf just took its first dang steps. All wobbly and disoriented, you know, and Diner Lops, that sketch was like a fever dream. I had after eating too many crawfish etouffee back in Louisiana, wrote it in college when I was the head of writing. Imagine that, me, a responsible adultish human, leading a room full of writers. Who'd have thought it, but I was like, nah, I'm saving it, like holding on to a winning lottery ticket, waiting for the right moment. The host was supposed to be Galifianakis, but man, Keenan took that and elevated it. And Les Mis as a child. Oh lordy, I was in. It had drama, love, death, all the good stuff. And we turned it into a lobster's lament. How could you not? But now, people keep mistaking me for the Flash and I ain't saying I look like him, but they keep going. Oh, like, they halfway seeing it like I'm some kind of superhero disguised as a simple country comedian. But I ain't the Flash, I swear. I was at the dog park with my mutt. And this kid straight out of Central Casting comes up with that flash accent. And his grandma, she's giving me the stink eye, like I'm betraying her grandson's superhero fantasies. Then some fella comes up, says he's a fan of my stand-up right at that moment. Just perfect timing. And the grandma's face drops. Pure disgust. It was like watching a souffle deflate. She shook her head like I was a fraud. No, you are not the Flash, like I'd personally stolen Christmas. So I get home, tell my wife Anna this whole saga, and she just looks at me deadpan and says, so let me get this straight. Your two problems are that a fan said he likes your work, and that people think you look like a 25-year-old handsome actor. Who, by the way, you don't look like women, man. They always cut straight to the heart of the matter. Makes you wonder if she's secretly the Flash too, or maybe even Cletus the rooster in disguise, crowing at me in the morning with a different kind of, oh. Let me tell you something, marriage, man. It's like finding that one crawfish in the boil that ain't spicy. Just pure sweet meat, you know? Because I used to be like a stray dog fighting for scraps of affection. Getting cheated on more times than a roulette wheel hits black changed my whole damn view of things. Used to watch America's Most Wanted as a kid thinking, how could someone kill another person? Then bam, infidelity hits. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. Not that I do it, but I understand the primal urge to protect what's yours. Kind of like how I feel about folks who've seen my junk or met my family. They know too much. Gotta go, vanish like a fart in the wind. That's just logic, folks. Pure survival instinct. Time, though, that's a whole nother beast. And I'm only 35. Practically a baby, but I've entered the gross phase, like a damp swamp cooler that leaks on your pants, always feeling slick like a dolphin, especially the back of my britches. Sitting in restaurants, standing up, thinking I sat in something. Nope. Just swamp-ass courtesy of old Theo. Burping mid-sentence now, trying to muscle him down like a constipated bullfrog, loading up on bread and seltzer, feeling like the Goodyear blimp ready to take flight, then interrupting conversations about Italy with a kitchen run, asking if anyone needs a pause, hair sprouting on my shoulders like a damn Sasquatch, my wife rubbing him, singing Monkey, Monkey, Monkey Man under her breath. Something dredged up from the murky depths of her subconscious. Makes you wonder what your body is for anymore, just carting your head from room to room, still waiting to get big and strong, but it ain't happening. I'm like an old iPhone, just getting worse every year. Plus I overheat mid-afternoon for no damn reason. Getting grumpy's a real danger, especially when every new song is about tonight. Pure 19-year-old bull manure. I want to write songs called Tonight's No Good. About Wednesday, oh, you're in Dallas. Fine, let's just not see each other for 8 months, who cares? The biggest head-scratcher is how they used to scare the bejesus out of us about weed. Now it's legal in half the damn country, ain't that something? I got arrested with a one-hitter at a Rusted Root concert back in the day, barely got a slap on the wrist. Probably got an award for being the most country that week. It's like the government finally turned into cool parents saying, fine, take a little, just do it in the house, but everything's moving too fast, unreasonably so. No, ain't. The world's run by robots, and we spend all day providing proof we ain't one of them. Just to look at our own stuff. Gotta solve riddles like a digital sphinx. Prove you're not a robot. Look at these curvy letters. Harder than usual, right? No robot could read these. Is it an E or a th? Your guess is as good as mine. Bucko, gotta pass the password puzzles. Solve the robot test. Then comes the question no robot could ever answer. Which of these pictures does not have a stop sign? What in the hell are we doing, folks? Spending our days providing proof to a damn computer and it's doing nothing for our health. All right, folks, so I was down in Loringer, Louisiana, right? Place so small, the Walmart's got a drive-through window for your prescriptions and maybe some crawfish etouffee. Anyway, my buddy Dale, bless his heart, he's trying to name his kid, and he's stuck. He wants something unique, something that'll make his kid stand out. I said, Dale, you name that kid Refrigerator, he's going to stand out. All right, stand out in the principal's office every dang day. But it got me thinking about names. See, like, how important is a name, really? This whole Emmy thing reminds me of it. This comedian, John Mulaney, right, wins an Emmy, which is like winning the Super Bowl for people who tell jokes instead of throwing balls in some website deadline. They mess up his name. They call him Jew Open like he's a new medication for toe fungus or something. Reminds me of my Aunt Shirley. She's got every ailment known to man. She'd try anything with Jew in the name. Now, I know John, I've known him for a bit, and I can vouch he's a Mulaney, single L, folks. Messing up a name. It's like mispronouncing someone's gumbo recipe. It's just wrong, you know? And then they get another detail wrong. It's like adding pineapple to a chili. It just shouldn't happen. Like calling someone Mulvaney, it just feels wrong. Feels like something the New York Post would yell out with big, bold letters right next to an expose of my big throbbing vein. It's almost like stealing a moment, right? John wins this Emmy, big deal. Then someone proposes. That's like ordering the only steak in a restaurant. Then when it comes out, they put a dang onion ring on it. I just hope John doesn't feel like some crawfish that just barely got pulled out the pot when the fire went out. Now, I'm no expert on names. Hell, my own mama probably regrets what she named me, but I know a Mulaney when I see one. Sounds kind of like a brand of artisanal soap you buy in Brooklyn, to be honest. And messing up Mulaney, that's just Loranger level ignorance, and that's saying something. What is it with those coastal elites messing their people's name? I bet they think a boudin ball is a fancy dessert. All right. So picture this. I was back home, right, in Louisiana, where the dirt roads outnumber the paved ones 2-1. Kind of like how my cousins outnumber teeth in their collective mouths. And I was hanging out with my buddy Earl. Now, Earl, bless his heart, he's got the kind of dedication that'd make a honey badger jealous. Except instead of digging for grubs, Earl's dedicated to, well, Vaseline. Yeah, Vaseline. But not just for chapped lips during crawfish season, no sir. Earl used to store Vaseline in his navel. I'm talking a dedicated dollop of petroleum jelly tucked away in his belly button like it was Fort Knox. He said it kept his big lips, his actual physical lips, from looking like a bottomless pit. Which, let's be honest, they kind of did. Like a black hole swallowing all the lip balm in the state. And that reminds me of what Kevin Hart said about Shaq shaped like a beanbag, like a whole dang satin beanbag. But see, Earl's got this theory, this greasy little theory that Vaseline is the key to everything, the secret ingredient, the WD-40 of life. And that's when it hit me, like a mosquito on a humid summer night. These basketball players are out here chasing career highs, talking about keys to success, blocks, assists, points, all that jazz. And Joel says the key is Earl's Vaseline navel. And you're just standing there with a blob of Vaseline, and this makes me thinking about what Kevin Hart said, how Wade lifts and buries, about Klay Thompson feeling pretty. I swear the way these athletes carry on, it's like a bunch of squirrels fighting over a single acorn. It's kind of like that time I tried to teach my grandma how to use the internet. She ended up ordering a life-size cardboard cutout of Burt Reynolds and started calling him her digital boyfriend. But underneath all the sweat and Vaseline and post-game interviews about team, there's a real desire for something more, something real, something like what Ernest said won't go through. He'll flunk the physical, something beyond the game. Kind of like Earl's obsession with keeping his lips hydrated. It's a quest for something real in a world that's mostly just a whole lot of hot air and maybe, just maybe, a little too much Vaseline. Yeah, let me tell you something. Growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we had this dog, right? Oh, Blue. Bless his heart, dumber than a bagged egg hammers. Used to chase his tail till he threw up, then try to eat it again. But Blue, he had this one trick, seeing a car coming a mile away like he had radar or something. Reminds me of my girlfriend in true crime, I swear. She's obsessed with serial killers like Blue was with his own rear end. I mean, her Netflix queue is just a parade of Manson, Bundy, Dahmer. It's like a horror movie marathon every night. It's nuns getting off, hookers disappearing, kids. Well, you get the picture. Then she watches Great British Baking Show after like a palate cleanser after a feast of darkness, which I find so goddamn terrifying. Man, y'all ever been to London, Canada? It's like, bless their hearts, right? They're trying, but it's like naming your kid Elvis Jr. You just set him up for disappointment, Reminds me of this one time. I was at Starbucks trying to be healthy, ordering just a black coffee. And this chirpy barista hits me with the welcome to Starbucks. What can we get you to eat today? I swear it's a conspiracy. They're pushing breakfast sandwiches harder than a used car salesman on payday. I'm thinking, lady, I came here for caffeine, not a guilt trip. I miss the honesty, the brutal, beautiful honesty of In-N-Out Burger. Pull up, order a double-double, animal-style fries and a Coke, and they hit you with the will you be eating in the car. They ain't judging. They know you're about to commit a culinary crime against humanity right there in your Honda Civic. It's pure unadulterated shame, and I respect that. Yes, it's pure unadulterated shame, and I respect that. It's like, I need that honesty. Like my dad, Lord rest his soul. He was the same way all the way back to Christmas Day when I was 12. And my sister says she wanted to smoke weed. My dad goes right into these war stories. You want to know what I think about marijuana? I saw one guy at a party with a cigarette. I left immediately. That's the first story, and the second one is about him wanting to murder the Viet Cong for selling it to his Marines. Like nothing in between, no trying it to see what's up, just pure and unadulterated story time with no nuance. It's like religion, ain't it? I respect all faiths, Christian, Muslim, even you Jews doing your thing. But if you're a Scientologist, you can go straight to hell. Man, last night was something, felt like I was wrestling a greased up pig in a mud pit of tequila and regret. you know? But now got to trade the party hat for the daddy diaper bag because my whole damn family's got the tummy rumbles worse than a biker gang convention after a chili cook-off. And I got to be dad, which let me tell you is like asking a squirrel to pilot a spaceship. Ain't nobody ready for that kind of chaos. I'm the kind of dad who'd fart in a McDonald's cup, slap my hand over it like I caught a damn firefly, and then walk it over to my daughters all serious like, saying, girls, you ain't gonna believe this, but I just captured a few. Now I know what you're thinking, Theo. That's messed up. That's pure trailer park parenting. But hear me out. It's comedy, see? Because when they look in that cup expecting something magical, something like a tiny unicorn fart or whatever little girls dream about, and they just get a whiff of my swamp gas, their faces are priceless, like watching a puppy try to solve a Rubik's Cube. That's when you got to explain it to them. So you got to break it down, telling girls, daddy's teaching you comedy's a 101. It's all about ace direction, see? You thought you were getting fairy dust, but bam, fart cloud. They didn't get it. Of course, they ran to their mama, snitching like a couple of church mice, telling her I was making them eat farts. Which ain't true. It was more of a forced aromatherapy session if you want to get technical. And my wife blew a gasket, said I was scaring the kids. But I told her, I said, honey, you want equality in the workplace, you got to be able to take a fart to the face. It's like being initiated into the brotherhood of man. Every fella in this room knows what I'm talking about. But the best part, next morning, my youngest, that little hellion, is straddling my neck, trying to suffocate me with her tiny, slobbery self, while my older one's standing by, all innocent like, saying, Daddy, wake up, we got a joke for you. I open my eyes, half expecting to see they found my grandpa's old hunting rifle or something, but no, the little ankle biter says, guess what's in my hand, and I'm panicking, right? But then it dawns on me, every dad knows what's in her hand. It's the universal weapon of childhood. The silent but deadly, the old poop hand trick. I'm practically bursting with pride, thinking I taught her that. I created a monster. But then she says a punch in the mouth, bang, caught me completely off guard, I swear. I made a face like a basset hound that just got handed a lemon, and the two of them just lost it, rolling on the floor, laughing harder than hyenas at a tickle fight, until they realized I wasn't laughing. See, my girls, they got a sick sense of humor. I'm talking Dark Ages level of twisted. It's like they're being raised by a pack of raccoons who moonlight as stand-up comedians. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Used to have this chihuahua back home, okay? Little fella named Napoleon. Thought he was a Rottweiler, I swear. Hated baths. Hated him worse than I hate lima beans, which is saying something because I think lima beans were invented by the devil himself. Anyways, reminded me of Kevin, because remember when Kevin wasn't famous? Shoot. He'd show up smelling like a gym sock and a dreamsicle, you know? At least twice a week he would shower back then. Now it's all cologne, like he's trying to fumigate a whole damn city block or something. Got that cloud around him like Pigpen from Peanuts. They call it something else back in Louisiana, but I ain't saying it. But you know what, though? All this money and fame hasn't really changed the dude much. Truth be told. Still the same old Kevin, same piece of work, always been a little rascal, like a squirrel hiding nuts in your couch cushions, ain't paying nobody on time. Like my Uncle Cletus after a weekend at the casino, always promising, never delivering. That's why they doing the intervention, need money. And people think I'm just laying around my pool all day, sipping sweet tea and getting a tan, like I'm living the life of Riley. But I'm grinding, man. I'm hustling. Got to go to radio stations, TV stations. Sometimes I got to get on the phone and cuss someone out. And it's costing me, man. I pay way too many people. I'm about to cut this whole damn thing off and build a bunker. But then, you know, they reel you back in, tell you they need you. Like Iramora needs a shark. So here's a question, though, and this is a real one. Who's the funniest out of this crew besides yours truly, of course? I'd say you're funny, man, because you seem smart, and smarter folks are funny in my book. It's about time someone give me a little credit. Praise the Lord, truth finally comes out. But him. Yeah? Dude's quiet. Got to watch out for the quiet ones. They're like a possum playing dead. You never know when they're going to strike. Nah, man, I'm the creepiest, always have been. Anyway, Comedy Central, Netflix, you know the deal. Got to plug the stuff. Y'all been a good crowd, evened out the balance of my show, met my black people quota for the year. But remember Kevin and the other black guys? We bleed it. Anyway, you can see us on tour at Kevin Hart Nation. Joey, what's up, man? And hey, since we're at the end of this thing, I'm going to go walk up this staircase on my set that I've never walked up before. Hit that subscribe button for more of this nonsense, y'all. And remember, always check behind you. You never know what kind of craziness is lurking around the corner. It's probably a chihuahua named Napoleon or Kevin Hart or something equally terrifying. Man, I swear, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, was like living inside a fortune cookie written by a squirrel on meth. Remember old man Bergeron who swore he could predict the weather by smelling his elbow? Yeah, well, he also tried to teach me how to hypnotize chickens. Said it was the key to getting rich. Turns out all it got me was a peck in the eyeball and a healthy respect for poultry's ability to resist mind control. Which brings me to this mortgage lender I met at the VFW last night. Looked like he just stepped off the set of Downton Abbey after a particularly rough shrimp boil. Kept saying I as well after every sentence, like he was narrating his own impending doom. And let me tell you, the man needed a drink like a catfish needs a crawdad. Kept slurring about another collapse of our time and how plaid shirts were the only thing holding society together. Made me think, maybe Bergeron was on to something with those chicken. Maybe they knew the whole damn system was about to go belly up and they were just refusing to cooperate. Maybe that's why the economy's always on the verge of imploding, because we got a bunch of folks making decisions who'd rather be slapping the table and talking about I as well, instead, figuring out how not to bankrupt the whole damn country. So yeah, maybe the next time you're looking for financial advice, skip the banker and go find a chicken. At least you'll get an egg out of the deal. Man, Spokane, it's something, ain't it? Reminds me of my cousin Earl back in Tickfall, Louisiana. Earl was so slow, bless his heart, he thought a quarterback was just a fancy word for a homeless fella sleeping in a football stadium. But Earl, he had heart just like this crowd here tonight. Y'all are sticking with me, even though I feel like I'm wrangling a herd of feral cats up here. I swear I went for a run earlier trying to clear my head. Ended up near the bus station, which, let me tell you, is like a meth convention with pigeons. Got my cardio in dodging folks higher than giraffe butts. And this table here, they're giving me the stink eye like I just served them a plate of roadkill possum. I saw them shaking their heads like 9 times. I got a sixth sense for that kind of thing. Maybe they didn't Google, which is my favorite. People show up thinking I'm going to be all Mr. Rogers in a sweater, then bam, dead baby jokes galore. And they're all like, well, this ain't for us. Like they wandered into a cockfight by accident. Who does that? I ain't never gone to a movie blind. Like, whatever's planned. It'll be a spiritual experience. That's wild. And you brought your friends. Like, hey, y'all want to see this comedian I found under a rock? Now your friends are reconsidering the entire French, feeling like they've been dragged to a hog killing after prom night. I'm killing for maybe half this crowd, which statistically makes this the worst audience of the entire weekend. But hey, it's a holiday show. I'm getting paid that sweet, sweet holiday dough, so I can't complain too much. Spokane, bless your hearts. Y'all buy tickets, but then just stare at me like I'm explaining quantum physics to a chicken. You laugh at the pedophile joke, then you get all judgmental. It's a good joke, people. What do you want? For real? What were you expecting? You ain't the best audience member neither, pal, and this ain't even a good crowd, so you're officially the worst of the worst. Congrats. Your husband there, he probably hates that joke too, but I like him better than you, truth be told. I had more fun dodging needles and crazies at the bus station. At least that was a challenge, but honestly, at this point, watching me completely lose my mind on stage is better than the material. How often do you get to see a fella with a Netflix special completely unravel like a cheap sweater at a biker rally? That's something, ain't it? I'm genuinely shocked y'all are still here. I'm actually impressed. Makes me kind of proud. Kind of like watching a 3-legged dog try to win the Kentucky Derby. You ain't gonna win, but damn, you got heart. And sometimes that's all that matters, except maybe a bottle of whiskey and a good cry later tonight. Think I'll go see if Earl's free. Man, growing up in Tickfall, Louisiana, we only saw All Blacks on TV, like when Jason Momoa shows up at my gym, right? And he's all, Theo, you look different on TV, like a fat piece of... Well, but then we hung out for 12 hours. Most genuine dude ever. Way more authentic than my own podcast partner, Brett. Like, I swear, Jason and I, we're practically blood brothers now, Anyway, never thought I'd do stand-up in South America. Figured I'd be wrestling gators till I croaked. But Buenos Aires, Argentina blew my mind. Ate like a king the steak. Oh, Lord have mercy. Then Chile was amazing. Lima, Peru, saw some family, good folks. In Mexico City, spicy tacos and sweet people. Flew home, catnap, then bam. 40-day European tour. That's like being shot out of a cannon made of schnitzel. Madrid, Barcelona, Copenhagen, Paris, London, Birmingham, Glasgow. Felt like I was on a dang space shuttle made of baguettes and bangers and ended up in Iceland. Ice fire comedy like a Viking funeral for my voice box, And Tom, working for Tom is like finding a 4-leaf clover in a field of cow pies. I tell you, the man gets it. Treat your people right, they'll work their tails off. He's got a nose for good folks, surrounds himself with them, trusts them, creates this whole environment where nobody wants to let him down, like a mama bird nudging her chicks. Meeting Tom 14 years ago, changed my life more than grits, changed my arteries. He's unconditionally supportive. Best year of my life. Love you, Tom. Feels like he took a chance on me, like finding a 20-year-old jeans, and I can't imagine touring with anyone else. Speaking of, there's Mike Cronin, opens for Tom 4 times this year, probably doesn't remember me, always staring at his phone, but he's proud of Tom, thinks he's a good person, asks for more money. Classic Mike. And then there's Sam, driving for Tom, been thinking long and hard, says he can't say anything good about the man. Reminds me of my Uncle Earl after too much moonshine, says he's mean. Even when he's nice, he's mean, says they work 7 days a week. No time off, hasn't seen his family in 4 years. Then he blows his nose real loud. Gotta do it again. Then serious face, says Tom's a good guy, pleasure to work for, easygoing. But here's the kicker, folks. Sam says Tom isn't funny, which is like saying a dog can't bark. And you know what? Maybe that's the secret. Surround yourself with funny folks and let them shine like fireflies in a mason jar, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get to eat steak in Argentina and laugh your way to Iceland, because life, like a good joke, is all about the setup and the punchline, and sometimes the punchline is just realizing you're surrounded by good people, even if one of them blows his nose really loud. All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small. The high school mascot was a question mark. Seriously, just a big old question mark on the field. People were confused. Even the cheerleaders were like, what are we cheering for? Uncertainty. It reminds me of this time my buddy Earl, bless his heart, tried to impress this girl by saying he was film Wedding Ring or 2 before the first one even hit theaters. Like telling people you already got a platinum membership to Beyonce's Beehive plus a +1 with Lamar Odom. Back when he was still rocking princess cut she jeans, which by the way is a crime against fashion, worse than Floyd Mayweather and them damn cowboy boots. Somebody lock that man up. Stylist needs to be fired, or 2 Chainz showing up to court in a suit. Some things are just inherently wrong, like my Aunt Brenda's attempt to get on a reality show called Straight from the Heart, pushing past me like a damn offensive lineman to get in front of the camera, saying hi from the heart while I'm trying to explain the earth is not flat. But somehow Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for too much skin is somehow supposed to be acceptable. That's like banishing Waffle House from World Star Hip Hop. Ruins the whole damn site. But honestly, I'd pay $1 million just to see her. Well, you know, again, for the first time, but also knowing it's still Rihanna. So that brings me back to these co-stars I've been working with over the years. All of them except The Rock, that is, and The Rock hasn't helped one damn bit. Stevie, I'm looking at you. You ain't gonna help nobody except the inmates, Stevie. What is wrong with you? You look like you shop at the velvet sweatsuit store next door to Nacho Dick Emporium. And I swear to God, they are all just as ridiculous as waiting 45 minutes for a sandwich from Quiznos. Just needs more dreamers. And definitely not Will Packer sitting beside me at award shows. 5th black dude in a row. I think they have a row of just like all the black folks just chilling there. And Amy Schumer is just getting it thrown in her face, which I'm okay with. And then Whoopi Goldberg just goes on The View and says some wildish shit. I can't even I gotta shave again because of all the stupid that's going on, and then some guy is throwing me off while I'm about to rip on this stage in camouflage. He thinks his petite jacket is gonna save him. You know, maybe I don't have a college degree, but I got a yacht. Well, I will have a yacht. It's on credit. I'm just saying, I thought I looked cooler in a suit, and now I feel like I look like a head in a box, so I look like a guy with a head, so I don't know. Maybe I should dress like my friend Earl. All right, folks, so growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this one neighbor, Cletus. Real character, always wore a coonskin cap. Even in July, looked like Daniel Boone went bankrupt. Started selling fireworks out of his trailer. Anyway, Cletus was convinced aliens were stealing his garden gnomes. Like every week, another gnome gone, vanished, and he'd blame it on them dang space critters. Now, I ain't saying Cletus was wrong, but he also thought Mountain Dew was a health food, so, you know, grain of salt. And it reminds me of these new Nazis popping up, acting like they just discovered hating folks. See, back in my day, Nazi was just something your mom called you when you wouldn't clean your room. Like, Theo, you're being a real Nazi about these Legos, not some actual belief system. These new ones, though, they got this whole thing about Jews ruining everything. And I'm like, hold on a dang minute. My wife, Anna, she's Jewish. I'm married into this thing. I got the official decoder ring. I know the truth. And let me tell you, blaming the Jews for everything is like blaming Cletus's missing gnomes on the aliens. Maybe check the raccoons first, you know. Speaking of Anna, I was telling her the other day, I said, honey, we've been hitched for like 3.5 years now. You cool if I still crack jokes about you on stage? And she just shrugs and says, yeah, go ahead. Just don't say I'm a bitch and you don't like me. I almost choked on my sweet tea. The bar is so low. It's practically underground. I mean, that's it. That's the limit. A show about how I hate my wife would be a damn disaster. It'd be like a men's support group hosted by John Voight and Alec Baldwin. Yikes. No thanks. Truth is, Anna is a bitch. A dynamite 5-foot Jewish bitch. and I love her to death. We're polar opposites. She walks around like she's immune to opinions, doesn't give a hoot what anyone thinks. It's beautiful. I, on the other hand, need everyone to like me all the time. It's exhausting. She says being with me is like dating a mayor running for the Mayor of Nothing award. We went to Best Buy the other day to get a TV. Didn't even get the TV. I was too worried the sales guy would be mad. So I bought an HDMI cable just to smooth things over. Anne is standing there, stone-faced. The guy asks if I have a Best Buy rewards card. I say no, but I wish, and she just walks off full-on Blair Witch style, disappears into the laser printer aisle. I'm left standing there like a dang fool. The guy tries again, want a rewards card? I say no, even though I just implied it's my greatest desire, 'cause I'm picturing telling him I'm trapped in a loveless marriage with little Miss Jesus Christ, who won't let me achieve my true potential. So one day I'm gonna leave her and finally get that dang rewards card, and she's all like, Jesus Christ, Theo, you're never getting that rewards card. See, that's the Catholic versus Jewish thing. I was raised Catholic, she was raised Jewish, two different worlds. We were talking about it the other day, not about kids though, because we ain't having those, everyone always asks. And I'm like, I don't know, never is a long time. 14 years ago, I smoked cocaine the night before college graduation. Now I'm afraid to get a flu shot, so who knows what tomorrow will bring. Maybe I'll finally get that Best Buy rewards card after all. All right. Settle down now, folks. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small, the church picnic was the biggest news of the year. Used to be this fella, Cletus, bless his heart, he thought he was a squirrel. Not like, oh, I like acorns, but full-on tree climbing, nut hoarding kind of squirrel. One time, Cletus tried to bury me alive in a pile of leaves because he said I was a rival nut gatherer. That's when I learned, folks, life's a whole lot like a possum in a grocery store parking lot. You never know what kind of mess you're going to get into. Which brings me to John Mulaney. Remember that guy? Emmy winner, Netflix star of the whole shebang. He's playing Madison Square Garden, for crying out loud. But see Seth Meyers, that sneaky devil, he's got to grill him about his outfits. Mulaney walks out looking like he just wrestled a bear and lost, and Myers is all, where's the suit, Johnny boy? It's like confronting a raccoon for eating your garbage. You know it's wrong, but you secretly admire the audacity. But apparently some folks intervened on Mulaney a while back, said his life was spiraling. So I ain't one to judge. Everyone's got their own brand of crazy, but it just seems a tad extreme to critique a man's fashion sense while he's, dealing with stuff. Myers wants him in a suit, says he looks like he raided the Gap after a bad date. It's like saying a dog wearing pants is civilized, but it's still going to sniff your crotch, ain't it? Mulaney's like, fine, I'll put on the suit, but you ain't taking me to no fancy tailor. He figures Myers should have had a car waiting, ready to whisk him away for a 2-month fitting. Imagine that, Mulaney, trapped in a tailor shop, surrounded by pins and fabrics like a hummingbird in a butterfly net. Then Myers starts miking the jacket real serious, like reminiscing about that talk show he co-hosted where apparently they were Saris in bad dress, and that's, man. Picking on a man's wardrobe is like kicking a pregnant mule, just ain't right. Mulaney, looking like a hostage in a department store mannequin's outfit, says he feels happier. Myers throws in a tie because, television demands conformity. It's like putting a hat on a chicken. It doesn't make it any smarter, just funnier to look at. Then they get to fatherhood. Mulaney's got a 7-month-old Malcolm, apparently a connoisseur of self-inflicted selfie videos. He also claims the kid got him gifts for Father's Day, and that Malcolm insisted he wears a damn suit to 30 Rock. Kids these days are getting bossy. Myers tries to relate, mentions his own baby, then they hit the formula shortage. Oh, Lord, that's when things get real. Mulaney, channeling his inner drug dealer, admits his old instincts kicked in. Fake driver's licenses, Mr. Mustache disguised pretending to be an old Vietnamese lady, all for baby Fago. It's like watching a penguin try to climb a ladder, it's not going to work, but you can't help but admire the effort. And the Amazon stuff, shady as it is, as car salesman's handshake. Mulaney actually tasted the formula to make sure it was the real deal. Now that, folks, that's dedication. It's the kind of parenting that makes you wonder what's next. Maybe teaching the kid how to hotwire a car to get to the diaper aisle faster. It just goes to show whether you're wrestling bears, getting fashion advice from Seth Meyers, or navigating the baby formula black market. Life's a wild ride, and sometimes all you can do is dip your finger in and hope it's the real enzyme, you know what I'm saying? All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something, my cousin Ricky, bless his heart, he used to try and catch squirrels with a butterfly net, right? Butterfly net. Said he was going to train him to pull a little wagon like a gosh darn miniature Clydesdale team, and I'm sitting there thinking, Ricky, you're about as likely to train a squirrel as you are to teach a possum to play the banjo, but hey, that's Ricky. Reminds me, people laugh at folks' imperfections, their little stumbles and bumbles, physical flaws, things you can see plain as day. And yeah, it's funny sometimes, like when I tried to wear Crocs to a wedding. Hilarious. Disabilities, that's a whole different ball game, ain't it? Hmm. Most ain't funny, especially the ones that end up on quilts or those 10K runs. Those are straight up tough, no joke about it. But then you got these weird situations, these curveballs life throws you, and you got to ask yourself, is that funny? And let me tell you, I got 3 examples that'll have you question your entire existence. First, foreign accent syndrome. You hear about it? Folks get bonked on the head, bad car wreck or something, wake up talking like they're from freaking Belgium. It's not funny, the head bonk part, but the accent? Oh, brother. And try not to giggle when you see a fella from Alabama suddenly sounding like he's running a trattoria in Naples, saying something like, the tractor, she's no working no more. If that ain't funny to you, you need to check your pulse, friend. But the real kicker, British lady never left her town for 33 years, gets in an accident, wakes up talking with a Chinese accent. Chinese? Suddenly she's all, hello, I have no conversated with you over many moons. You want a cup of tea? Do you hear what I'm saying? Tell me there ain't a god with a seriously twisted sense of humor. And don't get all woke on me, it's a white lady. It's like she ordered the wrong accent on Amazon. But look, that British lady, she can say what she wants, maybe even start offering happy endings with that tea. Who knows? All right. If you're still stone-faced, how about this? Persistent genital arousal disorder? Basically nonstop, every 90 seconds. Imagine trying to hold down a job like that. Trying to sell someone a used car. This baby's got low mileage. Bam. Or getting groceries. They can't get any peace, any calm. It's just a mess. It's just, can I try on this shirt? Forget the shirt. I need new pants. And some poor soul's got both those afflictions. Can you imagine? Sorry to hear about your dad passing away. Ooh, that feels good. I just made that up. Maybe not funny to you, but I'm rolling with it. Still not convinced? Tourette's. My 5th grade Catholic school. New kid walk in on a Wednesday mass day. Priest starts, in the name of the Father. Kid, infant yells, fuck your cunt. Silence. Priest keeps going, Holy Spirit, kid again, lick my balls, fuck you. I'm dying. Trying not to explode. Kid next to me whispers, he's got Tourette's, it gets old. I never got old. Best 3 years of my life, especially the substitute teacher. They didn't warn her it was biblical. Saw a 10-year-old shatter a grown woman's spirit. Poor lady walks in, read chapter 3, tick starts building. She's like, what's going on? He starts painting his own shirt with markers every day. She didn't know. Then he does his face. She's like, stop that. He goes, you bitch, fuck you. She's breaking down what's happening. They're like, that's Kevin. Why are you crying so much right now? She died inside, quit teaching, but she's fine, Probably selling candles on Etsy now, telling folks the scents are inspired by inner peace. The important thing is just look for the joy, or at least try to find the humor even when it's dark. It's a midnight deer stand or something. Man, I swear, growing up in Louisiana, we had this bathtub, right? Avocado green. Looked like Shrek's armpit. It was slipperier than a politician's promise, so time I'm in there just trying to exfoliate like a damn influencer, and bam, down I go, like a sack of potatoes. But here's the kicker. My cousin, bless her heart, she's in there too, thinking she's auditioning for a shampoo commercial, all slow motion hair flips and whatnot. And I accidentally clothesline her with my flailing limbs. It was like a scene from a slapstick comedy, except nobody was laughing, especially her, because see, it's like this with women. They got this whole expectation thing going on, right? You're supposed to be this graceful, protective force field against the slippery demons of the porcelain abyss. But the truth is, I'm just a clumsy swamp creature navigating a world designed for ballerinas. And that's kind of how I see this whole body image thing too. Like, women are constantly getting judged, weighed, measured, told to shrink here, puff up there. It's like they're living in a goddamn funhouse mirror. And meanwhile, dudes are out here walking around looking like sentient beer kegs, rocking the dad bod like it's the latest fashion trend. And nobody bats an eye. It's a wild double standard. I tell you, it's like comparing a meticulously crafted souffle to a microwaved burrito. Both can be delicious, but one's definitely getting more side-eye at the dinner party, So next time you see a woman falling in the shower, cut her some slack. She's probably just trying to wash her feet, and even if she ain't, it's probably better than the alternative, which is trying to date in the modern world. That's even more slippery, guaranteed someone will end up falling. All right. Settle down, folks. Settle down. So growing up in Slaughter, Louisiana, you wouldn't believe the nicknames. I weren't exactly tall. See, more like compact. One dude, Cousin Earl, bless his heart, he'd yell across the Piggly Wiggly, "Hey, Theo, I can't believe it's that big," referencing my personality, I guess. Wasn't the height, but the sheer force of will, you see, like a chihuahua with a Napoleon complex. And that's me. And it got me thinking, all this talk about height, it's bullcrap. Tall folks, bless their hearts, they just conversational advantages like them fancy, overpriced steaks that taste like cardboard. There ain't nothing else special about them. They ain't smarter. They ain't funnier. They sure as hell ain't tougher. I've seen a possum take down a Great Dane. Size ain't everything. People. My grandma used to say, little man, little woman, they the salt of the earth. And she knew she was barely 5 foot nothing. Could skin a deer faster than you can say sweet tea. So all you short kings and queens out there, rock that height or lack thereof. You're the real MVPs. Reminds me of this fella, DJ Kentai's. Well, let's just say older gentlemen have some unique talents down there. But seriously, though, height aside, it's about what you bring to the table, not how high you can reach the shelf. It's like Kevin Hart. Love that little dude. He gets all the chicks despite his size. Oh. And party tricks. DJ can tie his balls into a knot. That is his party trick. Reminds me of Santa coming down the chimney. Am I right? Mm. Anyways, it all comes down to this. The world's obsessed with superficial stuff. Height, breath, snore, fart. It is always about that. But it's the inside, what kind of heart you got. You feel me? Like this one dude said, the iguana picking up a worm. Who am I compared to that iguana? And I'm up here thinking about Honky Pete as Jumanji League superheroes. It's bonkers. You rather never have sex again, or every time you do, you scream Jumanji. Jesus Christ. My point is, don't go trying to be something you ain't. Own your weirdness. Embrace your flaws, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you, you. Whether you are Black Adam or Honky Pete, embrace it. Life's too short to be anything but a little snack size. Denzel, just ask Wayne Johnson with women thighs. And if anybody gives you grief about your height, just tell them to kiss your, well, you know. Just let your little light shine, y'all. Let it shine. And if they still give you trouble, tell them Theo Von sent you. And I'll sick Cousin Earl on him. He may be short, but he's got a big heart and a, well, you know. Anyways, I'm done. I'm going to get some nutty butter and tea with the queen, y'all. See you later, alligator. All right. So picture this. I'm back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? My Uncle Bobby, bless his heart, he had this pet raccoon named, wait for it, President McKinley. I swear that's what he called him. Anyway, McKinley was a menace. Stole dentures off the porch, chased the neighbor's chihuahua, classic raccoon stuff. But Uncle Bobby, he treated that raccoon like his own flesh and blood, even tried to get him a little coonskin hat for Christmas. Didn't go well. Raccoon bit him. So there I was, 7 years old, watching Uncle Bobby wrestle a raccoon while trying to put a hat on him. And I thought, man, this is love. This is true, unadulterated love. Bam, we're just part of the mom package, ain't it? Like, I still get yelled at sometimes. Feels like I'm 8 years old hiding firecrackers for mama. And speaking of things you don't see coming, I got straight up attacked in Burlington, Vermont this year, which is like getting mugged by a yoga instructor, you know. Places like Birkenstocks and kombucha explosions. Everyone's blissed out. I thought I was safer there than in my own refrigerator, honest to God. Bernie Sanders could be the mayor of Niceville. That dude makes me think of when I'm arguing with a woman, because I just know it won't work, but I've just got to lay my ideas on the table regardless. So post-show, I'm chilling with some funny folks, couple of beers, 2 blocks from the venue, when this fella approaches and you can just smell the crazy like a raccoon that's found a can of hairspray. Something ain't right. He glares at me and goes, University of Vermont. I'm like, nope. He says, master's degree? I go, you're colder than a penguin's pecker. Then he shouts, I want to beat the shit out of all of you. But he's eyeballing me like I owe him money. I gave him the once-over. Figured he was all bark and no bite. Like a chihuahua with dentures. Big mistake, because I turn to walk away, and bam, he grabs my shoulder and smashes a pint glass on my dome like he's trying to make some dang glass blown. Turns out I misread the situation. Turns out I'm about as perceptive as a woodpecker looking for a car dealership. Now this dude bolts. Cops get called, and before they even hang up, I'm hollering to the bar. Did y'all hear him call me Jew boy? And everyone's like, nah, Theo, we missed that. And suddenly I feel like Jossie Smollett's cousin or something. So they nabbed the guy, wasn't exactly an Olympic sprinter, and they got him crammed in the back of the cruiser. The cops are picking glass out of my hair, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I was starting to get carded for less. And one of them asked, "He smash a pint glass on your head?" I said, "Could have been a pint. Could have been a whole darn manure officer. It all happened faster than a fart in church." All right. Then he's asking if I see spinning, and I'm all like a dreidel partner. It was a rough night. Felt like I was trying to parallel park in a hurricane. Finally, I had to fess up. Wasn't a hate crime, just some feller with a bad case of the stupids. They haul him away, and the bar manager turns to me, all serious, and says, "Just so you know, this never happens here." And I'm thinking, yeah, I figured it'd be pretty wild if they were like, "Oh, that's just Scott. Scott does that. Don't mind him." All right. So growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this kind of swampy, murky creek behind the Winn-Dixie, and my pops, bless his heart, thought it was the perfect place to teach me how to swim. Now, I was like 7, maybe 8, all elbows and knees, scared of everything that wasn't a crawfish boil. And I told him, "Dad, I can't swim. I ain't got no swimming skills, just my natural charm." He just looked at me, this kind of squinty-eyed look, like I was speaking another language, and goes, "Boy, you got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a heartbeat. You can swim. Get in that damn water." No instructions, no floaties, just pure, unadulterated Southern logic. He just picked me up like a sack of potatoes, chucked me into the deep end, 7 feet of Louisiana gumbo. And let me tell you, folks, I went down faster than a politician's approval rating after a scandal. I'm flailing, gasping, swallowing half the creek, thinking this is it. This is how I meet my maker. And all I hear is my dad yelling, "Don't you dare drown, you little varmint. I ain't paying for no funeral." Like, seriously? So I doggy paddled my way to the edge, coughing up creek water and broken dreams. And the whole ride home was just silent, awkward, like a possum at a debutante ball. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana, right? Small town, like, if you blink, you miss it. And even when you do see it, you probably wish you missed it. We had this guy, Cletus, lived down the road, only had 1 tooth right in the front, like a dang picket fence with a hole in it. Theo swore he could talk to squirrels. Swore. Said they told him secrets about where the best peckins were. Now, Cletus wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he did have an opinion about everything, just like this lady in the front row here, bless her heart. You know, it reminds me of this whole teacher thing. I was never one to rag on teachers. No, I actually kind of liked them, probably because back then teacher porn was my go-to. Wrecked my after school. Every time my teacher, Miss Crabtree, even looked at me talking about, "You're in a lot of trouble." I'm thinking she trying to seduce me, not tell my mama I drew on the desk again. And now people ask me, "Theo, you watch teacher porn?" Well, yeah, but it's got to be the right kind of teacher. Nobody want to see some meathead from Staten Island. No offense to anyone from Staten Island, but you know what I'm talking about. But hey, let me ask you something. You ever look at a student, maybe a year out of high school, and think, maybe. Nah, just me. All right. I'm just saying, there's something about that forbidden fruit, that danger, you know? Like dating a PE teacher, they always walking around in sweatpants, giving you that look, thinking what could be. What am I supposed to say? I supposed to say like Staten Island, that's like stepping back into the 1950s. They probably haven't even heard of the Me Too movement yet. But what's the point there? The protection of people like that is almost non-existent. You go there and get eaten alive. Say that those girls will wake up and not even realize how bad they played it off. That, or they will be too busy complaining to remember I even said anything. You go there and end up with manic depression, ADHD, just one way to go when people are that far behind, I suppose. Man, back in Shreveport, we had this drinking crew, real deal redneck poetry slam, you know, me, Mark, Sam, and this dude, Soder, who looked like if a scarecrow and a golden retriever had a baby. And then there was Nate, bless his heart. Nate could only book gigs at this place near Broadway, like the armpit of the New York comedy scene. They call it the world, like a Walmart greeter directing you to enlightenment. And he'd be doing unpaid sets at 11 p.m. while they're charging cover. This is like prehistoric comedy days, like finding a fossilized microphone. And this is before Soder was selling out stadiums. Wild, right? Anyway, the world was basically the Broadway comedy club's ugly stepsister. Like they'd be advertising Dave Chappelle's here tonight, knowing full well Dave was probably at home eating a gourmet grilled cheese And one time I swear they tried to pitch me Tina Fey was gonna do stand-up. Like, who are you trying to fool? You think she just ditches 30 Rock for this? And the mural on the wall was like a fever dream painted by someone on Bad Shrimp. But the real kicker, they served fake alcohol, like the kind made from corn syrup they sell near schools, because they don't have a real liquor license. It's like trying to get drunk off communion wine, which, thinking about it, is probably worse. And it was 12% strength. You know, order a vodka tonic and you're basically getting a grape soda with a buzz. I even got spat on at that joint, like full-on loogie warfare. I was roasting this dude in the front row, felt like I was talking to a donkey, and he just lets loose, right on my chest. But bless those sassy Hispanic waitresses, they jumped in front of me like I was El Chapo. They were ready to throw down. And Chris Murphy, the man's a saint. He walked me out like I was fragile, said he's waiting for you, pal. And the first threesome I ever had was a direct result of getting spat on, though. 2 girls in Philly saw what happened, said, screw that guy. Come on, let's go drink. So we went out drinking, had a threesome. The details aren't fit for conversation, but you get the idea. It was a different kind of spitting story, let's just say. And my cousin, he's a simple guy. He says, you left with those 2 chicks? I said, yeah. And he says, I gotta start getting spat on more often. That's when you know you had a good night. You know, when even getting assaulted turns into a win. Like finding a $20 bill in your old jeans, only it's covered in saliva and questionable life choices. Man, growing up in the sticks, we had this dog, Biscuit, dumber than a box of hair, right? Would chase his tail till he puked, then lick it up. That kind of stupid. Reminds me of trying to sleep these days. Got this fancy-ass pillow, cost more than my first car, and I'm still up at 3 a.m. counting imaginary sheep that are all doing the Macarena. Speaking of sheep, saw this dude the other day slumped over in public, sawing logs louder than a chainsaw convention, and I'm thinking, that son of a biscuit eater is getting better sleep than I've had in a decade. So naturally, my brain goes into full-on prank mode, like when me and my cousin Billy Bob tried to convince Mrs. Henderson that her cat could talk. Yeah, story. It involved a walkie-talkie and a very confused meow, and I'm plotting how to give this Sleeping Beauty a little wake-up call. I know, nothing mean, just a touch of country justice. I'm thinking, let's get a spotlight on him, real subtle, like he's about to get abducted by aliens, or maybe sing him a lullaby, but like a death metal lullaby. Then my buddy Joe's over there, bless his heart, trying to figure out the light switches like he's defusing a bomb, and I'm over here praying nobody pulls a fast one, because Lord knows there's always one character who's about to pickpocket somebody. And I wanted to bust out the dang police lights, but, you know, the front rows get all defensive, and I didn't want him to try and leave. I mean, this guy was out cold. I'm hollering his name like I'm summoning a demon. Miguel, La Policia, and nothing, not a twitch. Which leads me to believe one of 2 things. Either he's a professional napper who could sleep through a hurricane, or he's actually dead, and I'm about to become a suspect in the most bizarre murder case since that time my Uncle Earl tried to poison a squirrel with moonshine. Maybe I should just leave him there, let him wake up and deal with the mystery like a modern-day Rip Van Winkle, only instead of a beard, he's got a serious case of drool. All right, settle down, y'all. Good to be here, feeling good, feeling real good. Almost 30, which, you know, it's a number, a big old juicy number. Feels like yesterday I was chasing fireflies in the Louisiana swamp. Bare feet, covered in mud, thinking quicksand was going to be the death of me. Seriously, you watch those cartoons, it's right up there with anvils falling from the sky and sticks of dynamite. I was more worried about quicksand than taxes. And now, never even seen it. Nobody calling me up saying, Theo, take the back roads, quicksand swallowed. It's like, where'd it go? Like my hairline vanished into the ether, but back then, the real threat, the thing that kept me up at night, wasn't sinking in sand. It was people thinking I was Chinese. Let me tell you, this bowl cut and these squinty eyes, they screamed Kung Fu Kid louder than Bruce Lee on a karaoke night. Kids be calling me names, slurs I ain't even gonna repeat. Words I didn't even understand. I'm standing there like a confused possum in a headlight, 'cause I ain't Chinese. My family's about as Chinese as grits and gravy. The closest we get to Asia is taking our shoes off at the door, mostly just to keep the carpet clean after Mama's crawfish boil. But it was rough. It was real rough. I remember in 7th grade, we went to the symphony, and every time that big old gong went off, these savage little swamp creatures, they'd turn around and bow at me like I was some kind of emperor with a bad haircut. It was racist as hell, but also I gotta give them credit. The coordination was impressive. For a bunch of 13-year-olds fueled by Mountain Dew and Spite, it was a whole dang performance. Made me feel like I was in some twisted, low-budget racist Cirque du Soleil. But that's the past. We all say dumb stuff. I mean, look at TV. You can say anything on TV these days, especially on Law& Order SVU. They can't say the F word, but they can describe a crime scene with enough detail to make your stomach churn. Anal contusions this, cement and fecal matter in the ear canal that, and it's always Ice-T delivering the line. Ice-T, cop killer looking confused as ever, like he just walked in off the set of Colors. You mean this dude likes pigtails? Yeah, Ice, it's a pedophile. Welcome to the sex crimes unit. Grab a donut and try to keep up. It's like that time they tried to explain sex addiction to him. They're really trying, and Ice-T finally gets it. He's looking all serious, and he says, "Oh, I get it. You mean like when someone drinks too much or snorts cocaine or bets the house on the ponies?" I almost choked on my water. I was praying they'd just let him keep going, just name every vice he could think of. Or like when someone eats too much fried chicken, or watches too much reality TV, or collects porcelain dolls. Just fade out. Created by Dick Wolf. That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of TV I want to see. So yeah, almost 30, seen something, called some names, dodged the quicksand. Maybe it's time to start collecting porcelain dolls. Or maybe just keep watching Ice-T solve crimes. Either way, it's going to be one hell of a ride. Just try not to bet the house on the ponies, you know. All right, so I was at this Waffle House down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Place smells like regret and burnt coffee, you know, the vibe. And this lady, bless her heart, she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. It's like a lobster omelet with a side of gold flakes or something. I don't know, something ridiculous. And I'm thinking, man, this is Waffle House, not the goddamn Ritz. It's like bringing a Ferrari to a monster truck rally. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl tried to impress this girl by taking her to the fanciest burger joint in Ponchatoula. Spent his whole paycheck, and she ended up leaving with the dude driving a tractor. Turns out she was into that farm-to-table lifestyle, literally. And, you know, these waiters, they got to give you that little head nod that, are you sure you can afford this look, like they're protecting your bank account from yourself. Which got me thinking about women complaining about relationships. Always picking the wrong dudes. It's like ordering a steak and lobster when you know you're on a damn McDonald's budget, you know? If you keep attracting ain't shit dudes, maybe, just maybe, there's something about your pussy that's broadcasting easy signal, like a moth to a busted-ass porch light. It's time to take some responsibility, ladies, because no one want to hear complaints about this. It just feels like Michael Jackson being poor. You know, imagine MJ growing up in the projects, him and Tito riding around in a Cadillac looking for bad girls, Michael's on crack, and now suddenly get that the police, they didn't protect the black people, which it feels like an old Timex commercial for them. But it is all right if the brother gets paid, like Ike Turner did as the king of the Wolverbeater before O.J. Simpson taking that crown. But when O.J. was innocent in the eyes of Johnny Cochran, those white people who couldn't sleep because of the verdict, it's like black people getting insomnia since the slavery. Now you hear something like that, you just want to yell out, "Fuck the police," while driving 300 miles an hour in a Volkswagen because Lorena Bobbitt cutting off her husband's member, driving down the freeway and throwing it out the windows, Justice 2, and with the LA Police Department searching for O.J. Simpson. You're thinking it is the justice system that is not working. It's all connected, man, like dominoes falling after a crawfish boil. All right, so I was down in Loringer, Louisiana, see, back when the only thing hotter than the humidity was my aunt Shirley's perm after bingo night. And I swear we had this neighbor, Ehrlich, who claimed he could talk to squirrels, like full-on conversations. And Earl, bless his heart, he ran a boat cleaning business, but only in Tampa, Florida, because he said the squirrels there gave him the best business leads, which, now that I think about it, might be as believable as cleaning boats in Tampa, but hey, at least it ain't as crazy as my buddy over here selling serial killer tour maps. Like, here's where Dahmer got his dry cleaning done. Real dark tourist stuff, you know. Speaking of dark, my other buddy here reminds me of Gerard Depardieu. Like, the man could be wrestling a bear while eating a wheel of brie, just living life to the fullest. Which brings me to the point. See, if these two fellas were going to get their lives told in a movie, it'd be like casting Zac Efron as one of them, all chiseled and ready to rise, and Ethan Suplee as the other, kind of mirroring their style, yeah. Now back when Ethan Suplee was still in his prime, before all the weight loss, before he could show off his shoulders on Baywatch. And let me tell you, these boys here, their lives, it's like a breakfast of champions. All right, more like coffee, burger, powerlifting, pizza, coffee, chicken wings, and podcasts. Italian food and edibles, and never-ending edible sleep, a breakfast sandwich versus an Italian turkey with extra meat, like spicy Italian at Subway, but with turkey and ham. You know, put these fellas in a horror movie, it'd be all suck and stick or scream and run. But honestly, they do the opposite of what they're told, screaming as loud as possible, running like hell until it starts attacking and the other one is there. That it's, you know what? That's how it would go, I promise. If we raided their fridge right now, we'd find mayo, Kool-Aid, and Diet Coke, pizza, beer, and Diet Coke, a whole damn ecosystem of questionable choices. And who'd be the first to take a sip? Definitely me. I'd be like, there's got to be some alcohol in this, right? Hey, have you had a drink? Let me drink your piss. I hope you learned something about the power of friendship, because we sure did. And you can find my wilderness antics on Netflix. The Cabin. All right, so next time you and your friends are in the woods just trying to chill, remember, if you happen across a bunch of pissed off squirrels, there is definitely an Earl nearby. All right, how y'all doing? That's what I like to hear. Yeah, Theo Vaughn here. Let me tell you something. Grew up in the sticks, Louisiana. We had this old hound dog, Blue. Sweetest thing, but dumber than a box of rocks, I swear. He'd chase his tail till he passed out, then wake up and do it again. Just pure unadulterated joy in that dog's heart. Reminds me of my cousin Earl, bless his soul anyway. Saw some fancy water backstage, thought I'd grab a sip. Next thing you know, sploosh right down the front of my pants, looking like I just lost a battle with my bladder. And you know what's crazy? We're all so worried about looking like we peed ourselves. Like it's the ultimate social faux pas, but let me tell you, nobody's intentionally rocking the pee-stained pants look. Like, yeah, just gonna let this soak in. Air dry. Adds character. Nah, if it happens, it's an accident. A momentary lapse of judgment. Like driving a tractor through a car wash, you just gotta own it. And besides, pee's like that fire in backdraft, it goes where it wants, it's got a mind of its own, seeping down your leg, pulling in your shoe. A real abstract expressionist masterpiece. But that got me thinking, you ever see them folks in the bathroom, hovering under the hand dryer, scorching their nether regions like they're trying to deep fry a chicken? Ain't nobody got time for that. And that water wasn't water, 'cause it just kept coming like a leaky faucet, which is a sign I'm getting older. 43 now, which is weird, 'cause I just got carded at Cracker Barrel, but my knee sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Makes me think of these awards, you know, we give them out, feel good, raise some money, but it's like, who really deserves it? You know, like in Willy Wonka, Charlie gets the golden ticket, takes Grandpa Joe, and everybody's cheering, but what about Grandpa George, huh? Laying in that bed, looking like a prune, getting passed over for the guy who suddenly remembers how to walk after 4. Grandpa Joe, that walrus-mustached con artist, lying in bed while they sing Cheer Up Charlie, that song that sounds like a funeral dirge, while his mama makes laundry soup. It ain't right. It ain't fair. It's like award shows where some folks get the golden ticket, and others are left eating dust. And honestly, that reminds me of that hound dog, Blue. He never got any awards, just chased his tail and barked at squirrels, but he was happy as a clam. Maybe that's the real award, just finding your own damn tail to chase. Now ain't that something? All right. All right. So I was back home in Louisiana last summer, you know, visiting Mama, and she's got this rooster, right, named Clarence. Now, Clarence thinks he's the sheriff of the whole dang yard, strutting around like he's got a mortgage on the place, pecking at anything that moves, even Mama's ankles, which, bless her heart, she just swats at him with her cane like he's a mosquito the size of a chihuahua. And it got me thinking about stuff like how everything's got its own pecking order, even in a chicken coop in the middle of nowhere. And that reminded me of, you know, everything kind of has an order, things like trust and relationships. Like, if you're going to build something solid, you got to lay that foundation early, right? Kind of like Mama building that fence. Every little piece helps to keep those chickens in. Same goes in your marriage. You know, that trust is going to take its time, but eventually, you know, those birds are going to be flying, and the chickens from next door is going to be watching, and the neighbor's chickens all looking. So basically, you're laying bricks, except those bricks are like honesty and openness, and maybe a little bit of forgiveness thrown in there. Because let's be real, we all screw up, right? We all eat the corn, we're all guilty. Some people like Clarence think he is getting away with everything. But the real thing is that if you ain't got that trust, then your relationship is like Mama's old shed. One big gust of wind and it's all gonna come tumbling down, chickens and all, leaving you standing there scratching your head, wondering where you went wrong. So you gotta protect your foundation and nurture those chickens like the way she always says, you know, you gotta water it so those beautiful feathers can come flying out. And if the thing is, sometimes that's a lesson I have to remember, just like Clarence and Mama. Sometimes those roosters are right behind you when you aren't looking. Growing up back in the holler, we had this old hound dog. Blue, dumber than a box of rocks soaked in moonshine, I swear. The dog thought a vacuum cleaner was the devil himself. Would bark at it till he passed out, bless his heart. Reminded me of my Aunt Tammy trying to work a smartphone. Just pure, unadulterated panic. But Blue, he had this one trick. See a squirrel, he'd chase it right up a tree, then just sit there, wagging his tail, barking at the branches like he was waiting on a winning lottery ticket. Which brings me to this fella, Craig. Met him at the bank. Not a teller, not security, just loitering. Like a scarecrow forgot its job. I said, how you doing, out of southern politeness, you know, the kind Granny drilled into you for she hit the hard stuff. And this dude, Craig, launches into a dissertation on his upcoming trip to Virginia, like I'm his damn travel agent or something. Turns out he's visiting his sister after 15 years. Never been before. I'm thinking, buddy, you got more baggage than a Kardashian going to a yard sale, and he just drones on monuments and whatnot, and I'm trapped, man, like a possum in a parking lot wanting to scream, I just want to deposit this check so I can buy more jerky, leave me be. But he's got me cornered, this social vampire, and he actually says, I'll be here when you walk out. Like it's a threat, not a promise. And that's when it hit me, this whole how you doing thing. It's a social contract, a gentle dance, not an invitation to your therapy session. You got to keep it light, people, like a firefly on a summer night. Fine or great is all you need. Anything else is like showing up to a potluck with a plate of roadkill. Just ain't right. So next time somebody asks, remember Craig and keep it brief. Unless, of course, you want to unleash the hounds of hell on an unsuspecting stranger, then by all means tell him about your bunions. Man, let me tell you something. Back in Louisiana, we used to have possum nights instead of game nights, because ain't nothing brings out the worst in folks like trying to trap a critter that's already halfway to Narnia. But now I gotta let my friends invade my house monthly for game night. And I swear, it's like watching a bunch of toddlers wrestle a greased pig, especially when Monopoly's involved. We don't even play it right. It's like we're negotiating treaties for outer space. Like, look, Chad, you can bypass Boardwalk twice, but you gotta pay that damn late fee. I got a Blockbuster back in '04 deal. And the women, bless their hearts, they hit that wine and suddenly their brains evacuate the premises faster than a Baptist church on Halloween. They got two settings, stone cold sober and hunt. I think I just saw Elvis. There's no in between, no simmering. They just leapfrog over sanity. Straight into did I just try to pay my taxes with Monopoly money? Then last time my wife, bless her tipsy soul, lands on my property and I'm hitting her with the DJ scratching noises. You gotta pay that rent, baby, cha-ching, and she's slurring like a swamp donkey trying to recite Shakespeare. How much do I owe you, babe? Looks down, she's broke as a joke, so I snatch her piece, yeet it across the room like a crawfish at a Mardi Gras parade, and she starts getting all emotional. All you care about is winning. I'm thinking, dang, this escalated faster than a squirrel up a pecan tree, and I blurt out, well, all I care about is coming sometime. And then Harry and Wayne chime in with their own marital woes, like they're some kind of support group for Monopoly-induced existential crises. I swear next time I'm bringing the possums. Oh, man. All right. So, listen, I was thinking about my Uncle Dale. Bless his heart, used to train squirrels to water ski. I ain't kidding. Literally skis, garden hose rigged up to a kiddie pool. Pure Louisiana genius right there. But that ain't the story. Nope, it's like, remember them old gas station attendants, the ones who checked your oil and kicked the tires? That's how I feel sometimes trying to piece together this whole abortion doctor situation. Like, how do you end up there, you know? Is there some kind of career day where they hand out pamphlets saying, want to work with tiny humans, but like not really? I mean, what's the graduation speech like? Go forth and prosper, but maybe not. Listen, I ain't judging, just asking questions like a possum looking at a shiny hubcap. Pure curiosity, I dig. But seriously, let me give a shout out to this Helium Club in St. Louis. Feels like home here, better than my grandma's chitlins. And you gotta support real comedy, not just that TikTok garbage, cause I got some buddies coming through. Brian Cowan, Tony Hinchcliffe, these boys are sharper than a badger's claw. But listen, my boy Tom Segura, he's been having a rough time, arthritis of the jaw. Can you believe that? From eating too much, too fast, like a damn garbage disposal choking on a Thanksgiving turkey. Doctors wired his jaw shut. Poor fellow looking like a mumbling woodpecker, can't even tell jokes, gotta slurp his gumbo through a straw in those keto protein bars. Lord have mercy, that's some high-grade suffering right there. He'll be here in July. Just got his wires cut fresh as a newborn calf. So y'all show him some love because that boy is funnier than a screen door on a submarine. So raise your glass to Tom Segura. May his jaw heal quick and his jokes land harder than a wet sack of flour. Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this fella, Bobby Ray, could talk the chrome off a trailer hitch, bless his heart. You date him the time, and 3 hours later, you're learning about his hernia operation and the squirrel he saw burying nuts that one time. Anyway, it got me thinking about talkers. See, I ain't talking about the ones who just like to yap. I mean, the long talkers. You ever notice they always got to lean on something? Like they're powered by conversation, and if they stop, they just collapse like a busted waterbed filled with lukewarm chitlins. I avoid them like the plague, like church on a Sunday morning. But then it hit me, kind of like that time I accidentally ate a wasp, thinking it was a raisin. Comics. We're all kind of long talkers, ain't we? Especially when we go about our heroes. I was talking to Eddie Murphy once. Eddie Murphy, and I told him, Eddie, you're a big reason I'm up here sweating like a sinner in church. He just chuckled that Eddie Murphy chuckle, and it made me think, what if I told people it was dice clay, the looks I would get? Anyway, I asked Eddie why he ain't been back on stage, Mets, and he said something that stuck with me. He said it's like cold water. So he set the bar so dang high. Expectations are like that time I saw a raccoon try to climb a greased telephone pole. Ain't happening. And it's true, you know? We see these comics, these giants, cutting it up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and we think, how'd they get there? Probably crawled on their belly, one bad joke at a time. I had my lumps, let me tell you. Back when I was Jerry, age 22, 24, something like that, got a $25,000 deal. I thought I was King Tut, called my brother, bless his heart, and I said, brother, we get mom a house, dad a house, you a house. Dad gets that truck he's always wanted. We set. Money, gone. IRS knocking like a woodpecker on a crackhead's front door. Had to tell Dad, sorry about that house, Paw. 9 people living in that dang thing, but what you gonna do? Point is, in comedy, we ain't got many chances. That was grinding for 13 years, grinding like a stripper working off her student loans. In the last 4 or 5, been on the upswing. Reminds me of that musical, Little Shop of Horrors. TV's kind of like that plant, ain't it? One of us is getting eaten. Either you eat the box or the box eats you. That show was getting hungry, had to bounce. But, you know, that conversation with Eddie, good as it was, reminds me of the best conversation I ever had. Tad was with my dad ending to me why you had to do drugs. Said everybody was doing it, son. Your Aunt Brenda, your Uncle Earl, hearing him say that, seeing that truth in his eyes, that was something else. It was like watching a caterpillar turn into a rusty butterfly, a reminder that even in the darkest corners, there's a twisted kind of beauty like a possum wearing a tiny hat. All right, folks, let me tell you about my Uncle Earl. Bless his heart, used to collect dryer lint, right? Not just any lint, mind you. Earl only collected lint from his underender, said it was like harvesting tiny, fluffy memories of his day, you know? Anyways, Uncle Earl, God rest his soul, he'd always say, Theo, life's like a lint trap, catching all the weird stuff. But it's what you do with that weirdness that matters, and Lord have mercy, he was right. That brings me to Joe Biden, bless his heart. Old Sleepy Joe seems like he's collecting weird moments like my Uncle Earl collected lint, you know? Just piles them up. See him with Greta Thunberg? I'm predicting awkwardness so thick you could spread it on a biscuit, that's a fact. He'll be whispering sweet nothings about the ozone layer. She'll be glaring like he just single-handedly melted the North Pole. It'll be a YouTube goldmine here. I'm telling you. And Asians, now there's a group, y'all. Smartest folks on God's green earth. They're building iPhones while the rest of us are arguing about politics on Facebook. That's a fact. I'm practically an Asian supremacist, if that's a thing. I ain't hating on nobody, but them Asians are just out there hustling. They deserve a little credit. Except I saw a fellow on Twitter saying racist stuff to Asians on his iPhone, and I was like, hold on, at least have some respect for where that stuff comes from. You're right there next to the damn children making the electronics. It's like being circumcised and then complaining about the doctors. I'm telling you, folks, that's the kind of respect that we need in this country. All right. So I was back home in Louisiana last summer, right, visiting my Aunt Karen. Bless her heart, she still calls the internet the web like it's 1998, and she's got to catch some digital flies in it. And she's showing me these articles on her iPad, screen cracked like a bayou riverbed after a drought, and she's going on about hot moms this and hot moms that, and I'm thinking, Aunt Karen, you're trying to be hip, but you're about as hip as a square dancing convention at a Cracker Barrel. And right, she keeps saying it's the algorithm, but all this online self-care stuff for moms, is it real? It reminds me of this time I saw a raccoon trying to unlock a car door with a Slim Jim. Looked real dedicated, but you knew deep down it wasn't going to work, you know? And I'm not saying moms shouldn't take care of themselves. Lord knows they deserve a vacation to Aruba after birthing a human. I'm just saying back in my day, which was 81, we saw more moms putting the family ahead of themselves, like my own mom running on fumes and coffee so dark you could see the future in it, doing the kids' homework, cleaning up puke after a Saturday night wedding, you know, the real mom stuff. So now these hot moms on Instagram, they doing all this yoga and like posing with their kids for the gram. It's all shiny and perfect, but are they teaching them anything useful? Can they even change a tire or tell a squirrel from a chipmunk? It's like, I appreciate the dedication, but you remember that kid falling down videos on YouTube that used to be accidental, like pure unfiltered chaos. Now they staged like a damn Shakespeare play. You see that kid walking toward that hot stove and the parents got the camera out, ready to hit that record button. It's like, go on, touch it, learn from your mistakes. Anything for the clout, which is creepy, really creepy. Makes you wonder when the line of good parenting or just content gets crossed and it's a whole new world. So I guess all I'm saying is let's bring back the messy, imperfect, real mom moments. The ones that don't get likes but make all the difference. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go sign posters, kiss babies. Maybe learn how to unlock a car with a Slim Jim. Good night, y'all, and remember, stay weird. Man, let me tell you something. I knew this dude back in Tickfall named Earl. Looked like a scarecrow that got struck by lightning, right? Earl had this Chihuahua, Pepe, meanest little ankle biter you ever did see. Wouldn't let nobody near Earl, not even Earl's own mama. Bless her heart. She tried to bring Earl a casserole once, and Pepe went straight for the jugular like a furry little piranha. Anyway, Earl used to say Pepe ain't mean, he just protective, just like how them black mamas get when their kids mess up. I'ma count to 3, boy. You be out of them woods. And you know they ain't playing, but then you got the white mamas, Lord have mercy, they get fed up too, but it's a different kind of fed up. It's like, I've had it up to here with your insubordination, get in the car, we're going for a ride down by the lake, and the kids are all excited, thinking it's a fun day. Little do they know, mama's got other plans. My own mama, she would never take us for a ride down by the lake, but she'd sure use that story as a threat, scare us straight, saying, y'all keep messing up, I'm gonna take your asses for a ride. And I'd be thinking, mama, you don't even have a car, you go and hitchhike us down there. It's like that Lavelle Crawford joke, good stuff, good stuff. Reminds me of the Mexican-American folks too. They got that same kind of love, that same kind of fire. They love flowers, they love music, they love white girls named Debbie, they love education, going to night school, taking Spanish and getting a B. They don't love getting up early, but they do it anyway, real slow like a turtle in molasses. They love their nanas and nonos and ninas and ninos, nano. But don't you dare call them beaters. Them old cars they drive, they'll kick you in the face faster than you can say Cheech and Chong. Call them beers, even though they drive real slow, goddamn slow. They don't like to be called Peter. You can dress them up, but you can't take them out. That's the truth, man. They name Chata and Sheila and Chima and little Chima and have a son-in-law named Jeff, and they don't like 'em movies where the dude has to wear contact lenses to make his blue eyes brown, 'cause don't make my brown eyes blue. Is it time for the race? They live in Los Angeles, San Diego, San Antonio, San Francisco, and now all over Canada. They just get cold up there. Mexican Americans have been here forever, and we're going to be here forever, and we only want what's fair. Mexican Americans, yeah, man, that's it for now. Thanks for joining us. Now the credits are going to roll. You don't have to stick around, but I do. There's my name. Woohoo, the 5th cameraman is hot. Okay, then I'm done. Can I go now? For crying out loud, what, mommy? It's over. Just like that time Earl's mama tried to give Pepe a treat, and he bit her so hard she needed stitches. Some things just ain't worth the casserole, you know. All right, hold on now. Let me tell y'all something. So, I was back home in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake after Mama Sue sits on it, which, bless her heart, ain't nobody wanted to see. And my buddy Earl, bless his heart too, kind of simple fella. Earl's got this bucket list, right? Now, most folks, they got traveling the world, skydiving, maybe learning to play the dang harp on their list. Earl wants to learn how to belly dance. Belly dance. I swear I almost spit out my sweet tea. Told him, Earl, you look like a busted refrigerator. Try and wiggle, but you go on with your bad self. But it got me thinking about meeting Obama. You know, Bo, as I called him, real, in the White House. Like I told my wife, girl, this my De Niro moment. You better recognize, and how I did my Denzel impression. Chomp chomp. Training day. Nobody clapped. I swear it was racist. Anyways, it was just such a small thing, belly dancing dreams and presidential handshakes, all mixed up like grits and gravy. But the other day, it really pissed me off when I saw Cube talking about how I walk. You know, he just stays angry because his top lip never moves. Reminds me of my Uncle Ray. That dude looks like he hasn't had a decent haircut in 5 years. But you know what made me think this is the same Nicole Kidman where she couldn't even clap? She just had boomerangs for hands right there. The point is, folks are so dang worried about these big, grand bucket list items, the things they think are important, that they forget about the little things, like just getting out there, running along the beach like I like to do, but then somebody threw shit at me, literally. But no matter what, folks are so worried about feet, you just got to realize you can't take steps in life without them. And that reminds me, I got some gala ladies coming over to get their feet blessed. It's all connected, see? Belly dancing, the president, bad haircuts, feet. It's all just a bunch of crazy life stuff, and that's just how I feel, like a possum playing dead on a hot asphalt road, hoping nobody mistakes you for a speed bump. All right, on the way. What up? Lad up. Let me tell you something. I was driving here from the airport, right? And I saw this bumper sticker, keep the country. And I thought, damn, that's like me trying to keep Theo, you know? Like, good luck with that, buddy. I'm a runaway train of weirdness, always have been. Reminds me of my Uncle Dale back in Louisiana, bless his heart. That man thought he was a squirrel, not like a metaphorical squirrel, like legit burying nuts in the backyard, chattering at dogs. We tried to tell him, Uncle Dale, you're a 6'2" plumber, not a rodent. But he'd just stare at you, twitch his nose, and scamper up a pecan tree. Now, hear me out. This ain't about squirrels, although maybe it is. It's about locals, right? Like, what is a local anyway? Is it about birth certificates? Is it about speaking pidgin so good you can order a shave ice blindfolded? Or is it about something deeper, like having the mana, the aloha spirit, the thing that makes you not want to punch a tourist in the face when they ask you where they can find the authentic Hawaiian experience? See, I think it's kind of like my Uncle Dale. He wasn't born a squirrel, but damn it, he became one. He embodied the squirrelness, you know? He lived the squirrel life, and maybe, just maybe, that's what being a local is all about. You don't got to be born here, but you got to become Hawaii. You got to respect the land, the people, the culture, the pineapples that allegedly make your jizz taste like sunshine. And if you can do that, if you can embrace the weirdness, the beauty, the keep the country vibe, so, well, then you just might earn your place in the Ohana, even if you still can't pronounce Helma Hamuna Kunuko Pua. And if you can't, well, just blame it on the Micronesians. They'll understand. I'm just kidding. Micronesians, I love y'all. You're the reason I'm not the most hated guy on the island. That's a precious, precious gift. Thank you, Jesus.
Man, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, population maybe 100 and a dog, life was simple, like cornbread and Shetland simple, I swear. I remember one time, me and little man, that's what we called him because, well, he was little and a man we were catching crawfish down by the bayou, and this old lady, Miss Ethelyn, she comes strolling by with her chihuahua. Peaches dressed in a full-on Saints uniform, because that's just how Miss Ethelyn rolled, right? Anyway, Peaches starts barking at the crawfish. Miss Ethelyn starts yelling at Peaches. And I swear, little man just looks at me and says, Theo, sometimes I feel like we're living in a cartoon drawn by a squirrel on meth. And I was like, little man, you might be onto something, you know? It's like that's my whole childhood encapsulated right there. Weirdness, beauty, and a hint of existential dread.
Which brings me to this thing about respecting authority, because my mom, bless her heart, she had a way of teaching lessons that involved cussing, violence, and a healthy dose of Southern sass. See, I was a rambunctious kid, always running my mouth, always pushing boundaries, like a beagle chasing a mail truck. One time, my teacher, Miss Green, sent a note home saying I was acting a fool in class, which, let's be honest, was probably true. Man, I swear, I knew this fella back home, Budro, used to win stuffed animals at the county fair, like it was his job. Not because he was good at the games, because he'd just holler the loudest at the carny folks till they gave him something to shut him up. Kind of like what's going on here tonight, though. I ain't giving nobody no giant stuffed cat unless that claw machine's rigged, like my Uncle Earl's tractor after he had a few too many natty lights, which Come to think of it, might explain some of the medical profession these days, because I'm looking at you, nurse in training, and I ain't saying you ain't going to be a good one, but you remind me of that time I tried to give my dog Roger cough medicine, and he just looked at me like, Theo, what in the Sam Hill are you doing? And then promptly threw it all back up. And that's how I feel right now, like I'm trying to force feed something to someone who ain't hungry. And meanwhile, her poor boyfriend over there is probably wishing he was watching paint dry. 'Cause even that'd be more interesting than listening to me wrangle a drunk heckler who thinks she's got a free pass to the comedy rodeo. But hey, at least she's making money at her job, which, let me tell you, is a miracle in itself these days. Especially with these darn AI robots taking over, it makes you wonder if one day we'll all be replaced by robots who yell louder than Budrow at the county fair. And then what's a fellow to do but just sit back and watch the world burn? Or maybe just find a quiet corner and teach Roger some new trick, 'cause at least he ain't going to tell me to go back to jokes. Man, college, right? I swear, I just got a letter from my alma mater. Felt like Christmas morning, kinda, you know, until I opened that sucker up. Said, hey, Theo, remember us. We're the reason you're in debt. Just kidding, mostly. Then they hit me with this line, and I'm paraphrasing here because I threw the damn thing in the trash after, but it was basically, hey, cough up some dough. We want a gift, but, only if it jingles. Now, I'm no mathematician, but back when I was slurping ramen in that glorified daycare, I was forking over about 15 grand a semester, twice a year for 4 years. Do the math, folks. That's like 120,000 clams. I practically bought the damn library. So, excuse my French, but are you telling me that after I essentially funded a small African nation's GDP with my tuition, you got the audacity, the sheer nerve to ask for more? What is this, a hostage situation? I feel like I'm dealing with my cousin Gary. Gary showed up to Thanksgiving wearing a wife beater asking for $20 for gas, even though his car's been up on blocks in the yard since the I2K.
Where's that money even go, college?
Did you build a solid gold statue of the dean? Is there a secret underground bowling alley I never knew about? I bet it all went into those stupid study abroad programs where kids go to Italy and take pictures of pizza. Meanwhile, I'm eating ketchup packets in the library, trying to decipher Shakespeare with a hangover the size of Louisiana. I got buddies, they're all, Theo, be a good alum. Donate. They even wear the college t-shirt like they're still trying to impress their RA. Look, if you're a grown man still sending money to your old college, that's like still paying your ex-girlfriend's rent. She ain't coming back, buddy. You're just enabling her kombucha habit. That college, that's a $120,000 hooker, and you fell in love with her. In the letter, they were all like, it's been a while since you donated. I felt like firing back. It's been a while since you housed and educated me. I thought we had a deal. I gave you my money. You gave me a piece of paper and a crippling sense of inadequacy, but they gave me this cinder block room, smelled like stale beer and regret, covered in a Reservoir Dogs poster, and the first real heartbreak of my life, and probably HPV. And that's it. That's the ROI? Man, what even is college? Seriously, somebody tell me, because I went and I still ain't got a clue. I was 18, looked like a thumb with hair, living like a Ninja Turtle on a diet of cigarettes, Adderall and Natty Light. It was a 4-year-long game show. Do my friends hate me or do I just need to sleep? But instead of winning money, you just lose a fortune. And the kicker? I agreed to this deal when I was 17, no lawyer present, wearing sweatpants with pizza sauce on the knee. That's gotta be illegal, right? They tricked me like Brendan Dassey on Making a Murderer. Pulled me out of high school, 2 guys in clip-on ties like, come on, son, do the right thing, sign here, you'll be an English major. And I fell for it. An English major. 120 grand so some professor could tell me to read Jane Austen, and then I didn't. Y'all can laugh, but that's the worst financial decision I ever made, and I once bought a used jet ski from a guy named Bubba who claimed it was slightly haunted. Man, timeshares, remember those? It's like the mullet of vacation ownership, business in the front, party in the back of your bank account getting drained. Reminds me of my Uncle Dale. Used to sell vacuum cleaners door to door. Swore he was going to retire on dirt futures, whatever the hell that was. Anyway, timeshares. Thought Airbnb killed him. But then I started thinking, Airbnb's just a timeshare with extra steps, right? You're sharing somebody's time and probably their questionable hygiene habits. Let me tell you, I ain't trusting no stranger's loofah. That's where the swamp creatures breed. I'm telling you. Speaking of swamps, used to stay in these budget motels back in Louisiana. Felt like I needed a tetanus shot just looking at them. But hey, $60, and at least I knew the roaches were paying rent just like me. Now, Airbnbs, they want you filling out forms like you applying for a goddamn mortgage, then they got signs everywhere. Don't flush the toilet paper, pet the cat, but not too much. It's like taking a pop quiz on somebody else's weird life. Went on vacation once, end of December, first one in years, felt like a damn alien. Stayed at a resort, though. No way I'm trusting Brenda from Des Moines with my vacation serenity. Hotels impersonal. Hell yeah, that's the point. I want anonymity. Not a family photo album staring at me while I'm trying to unwind. Imagine getting intimate in an Airbnb surrounded by pictures of strangers skiing in Tahoe. Talk about a mood killer. It's like getting blue-balled by a stock photo. Tried the Airbnb thing once. Peak pandemic, figured I'd live large in Phoenix, rent a mansion with a basketball court and a pool. Baller status baby, but the gig got canceled, only got half my money back. Felt like I got scammed by the Monopoly man. Well, hey there, folks. Let me tell you, a couple weeks back, my email got hacked, which honestly felt like getting invited to a fancy party because I'm terrible at keeping in touch. So suddenly sending a spam link to everyone I know felt like my civic duty, my annual Christmas card, if you will. And bless their hearts, they all wrote back like I just birthed triplets, all screaming, "Didn't know your cyber uterus is bleeding viruses. Brought us closer than a Tupperware party after a tornado." And then this one fella, bless his simple soul, emails me, says, "Theo, buddy, clicked your link, but I ain't in the market for no herbal Viagra." And this ain't no comedian, folks. This is pure unadulterated West Virginia logic after 17 years of friendship. And it got me thinking, first off, who in God's green earth still clicks a spam link that looks like a dollar sign, had a baby with a swastika, and named it malware? I'm talking if HPV was a website, this was it. But no, he saw that blank email, subject line, reading, "Check this out," which, let's be honest, I ain't ever uttered in my life, and thought, all right, Theo's peddling snake oil, which is insulting because if I was going to shill herbal Viagra to my entire contact list, it wouldn't be a 2-column email blast. I'd craft a goddamn novel, something like Dear Friends, Famlin, folks I met at that all-night Waffle House in '09, comedy's gone south, and my Cayman Island business partners, and I have concocted a miracle cure for bedroom blues. Click the swastika for the world's ugliest website, pink on purple, just how we like it. See, gotta sell the dream, you know. Anyway, turned 30 recently, watching movies different now. Used to root for the hero, now I'm vibing with the side characters, the ones rolling their eyes like, oh great, another Spider-Man, feeling like I'm watching a squirrel try to parallel park. Reminds me of Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future, that was my jam. Wanted to be Marty McFly, but watch that movie again. And it's wild, this 17-year-old kid's best friend is a disgraced nuclear physicist, and nobody bats an eye. We're all just like, yup, checks out. Like seeing a cat driving a track. That movie is bananas. Imagine pitching that in a studio. Like, all right, family action movie. Lazy high school kid. Sleeps in. But get this. His best friend's a disgraced nuclear physicist. No, not a student. A 40-year-old weirdo. And the studio execs nod. Okay. They build a time machine. Stop the Kennedy assassination. And you gotta swallow your pride. Say, nah man. He goes back in time. Tries to hook up with his mom. Watch their faces. But don't worry, Biff shows up, tries to assault her, Dad saves the day, and we're saying a white guy wrote Johnny B. Good, and some head green like that. That's Hollywood, folks, like a raccoon running a bank. Only in America they ask if it's Back to the Past, but you gotta stick to your guns. No, Back to the Future, 'cause only in a movie can you have a disgraced nuclear physicist and a horny time-traveling teenager in the same frame. It's like a fever dream in a can. Like putting ketchup on grits, just plain wrong but undeniably entertaining. And people ask me if I smoke marijuana. I tell I don't need another reason to crave Cheetos. I already crave Cheetos like a dog chases a mail truck. You ever see a dude hit on a girl by yelling at her through a crowd? Hey, you with the tits, move it, losers. I'm Granos. That's the world we live in, folks. A world where disgraced nuclear physicists are best friends with horny teenagers and Greg yells at women from across the room. Bless their hearts. Man, this year's been like one long slip and slide fueled by lukewarm natty light and regret, you know. Went to this joint last felt like walking into a therapy session disguised as happy hour, some fella nurse in a blue moon, 2 orange slices dangling like sad little Christmas ornaments. And I'm thinking, buddy, you ain't got a problem, you got a brunch order. I'm chasing the dragon with Hennessy, talking to this Kroger employee. Guy sounds like he's fighting off existential dread between aisle 5 and the frozen pizzas. And I picture him answering the phone, some lady yelling about a busted can opener, and he's got to be like, hold on, ma'am. Let me just snort a line and crack open a Blue Moon because Kroger's testing my will to live today. But hey, ain't we all in customer service in some way? A doctor's just selling you a few more laps on the carousel. I'm here slinging jokes like day-old donuts. And even that raccoon rummaging through your trash is providing a service. Just a real niche market, see? We're all just trying to keep the lights on. One awkward human interaction and questionable beverage at a time. And if that ain't beautiful, I don't know what is. Maybe except a field of blooming onions. Those things are miracles of engineering and probably unionized.
Then growing up in Louisiana, you see some things. Like, remember old Clem used to wrestle gators down by the bayou, claimed he could whisper sweet nothings to him, but I swear I saw him bribe him with day-old donuts. Anyways, it reminds me of this time. See, I'm feeling myself, right? Thought I was all that in a bag of Zapp's potato chips. So this dude, he puts his hands on my face like he knows me, and I'm like, hold on, partner, we ain't that close, you hear? But then I see at the stance the crazy eyes like a possum cornered in a Walmart parking lot. I'm thinking, Kev, you're about to get socked. Better throw that haymaker, so bam, right in the kisser. Never punched a man in the face before. Felt like winning the lottery and losing your teeth all at once, so I'm hyped, celebrating like I just won a crawfish eating contest. Yeah, bitch, you don't want none of this. Feeling like a real OG, you know, but then reality hits you like a catfish to the face. Jail time, one bed, one blanket. Suddenly you're offering bedtime stories, but then he tackles me mid-speech like a linebacker going after a toddler. I'm thinking, bro, I'm tiny. I got a low center of gravity like a bowling pin. I ain't going down easy, so I start uppercutting him, giving him the old Louisiana shuffle. He's losing, starts yelling for Thomas, his security guard, and Wayne, my security. This big old fella got Thomas pinned against the wall. Looked like he was trying to teach him the electric slide. I couldn't tell if Wayne was helping me or just enjoying a good squeeze. Didn't ask, didn't want to know. So then it hits me, Dallas, Texas. Getting arrested here is like ending up in a Nickelback concert. Ain't getting out till Tuesday. Gotta get out of here. Nate, my driver, bless his heart, he was OG. Alright, gets the car, puts it on the curb, blocking everything. Never seen him so hyped like he's directing a bank robbery, telling people to stuff my head down so the cops don't see. That's when I realized Nate probably used to be a hitman or something. Then he snaps at me saying, Kevin, you got a career, movies, TV, you're throwing it all away for a street fight like I just bought a fidget spinner at a pawn shop. Then he's back to yelling about cops. We gotta go, but it's too late. We get locked up right there. Cleveland, I love y'all. Good night. And that's how I ended up sharing a cell with a dude who thought he was a heater on you.
All right. So let me tell y'all something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this old beagle named Blue, right? Dumber than a box rocks, but loved him to death. This dog, I swear, thought his own farts were a gift from God. Chase his tail round and round, snapping at that phantom smell like he just cornered the Easter Bunny. Reminds me, kinda, of how folks are treating this whole AI thing, you know? Sniffing around something they don't understand, thinking it's gonna solve all their problems, when really it's just gonna leave them gagging on its digital flatulence. I'm telling you, this AI stuff, it's, like when my cousin Earl tried to make moonshine in his bathtub, sounded good on paper, ended up with a whole lot of nothing but regret. In a bathroom that smelled like burnt tires. See, everybody's talking about how AI is going to revolutionize education, personalized learning, make every kid a genius. But I'm looking at it like Earl's bathtub moonshine. A lot of hype, a little bit of potential, and a whole heap of things that can go sideways real quick. They say it's going to adapt to each student's pace, give them custom tailored lessons like some kind of learning concierge. But I'm thinking, what happens when the AI gets bored? What happens when it decides little Timmy needs to learn about the mating habits of the Bolivian tree lizard instead of fractions? You think that algorithm cares that little Timmy's got a math test next week? Hell no, that algorithm's going to be off chasing digital butterflies, leaving Timmy in the dust with a bunch of tree lizard facts he can't use to save his life, just like when old Blue was chasing that fart, got nothing but air, and learned less than the dirt he snuffled. All right, y'all, so check it. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled perpetually of boiled crawfish and regret, always hollering about politics, right? He'd be out there in his wife beater, swamp cooler, humming louder than a gospel choir, ranting about Bernie Sanders. Only he called him that dang commie Bernard. You know, like he knew him personally. Like they shared a po' boy back in '72, maybe at a political rally for the Band-Aid on Forehead Society. Who knows with Mr. Thibodeau, the man once tried to pay for groceries with a handful of cicadas, claimed they were legal tender after the apocalypse. Now Mr. Thibodeau was convinced he and Bernie were practically blood brothers back in Vermont, called themselves the Burlington Three, swore they blew up the original Burlington Coat Factory, which, let me tell you, in rural Louisiana, that's like claiming you burned down the Library of Alexandria. Nobody knows what you're talking about, but it sounds significant. He'd be hollering about occupying Walgreens, hating the 1%, while simultaneously chugging whole milk like it was liquid gold. The man was a walking contradiction, a true Bayou enigma, and he hated those right-wingers. Except for Dick Cruz said his face looked like the whole Dick Tracy movie smushed together, which I gotta admit is a visual. It's a strong visual, like a Picasso painting made of police sirens and misplaced anger.
It reminds me of when I told Trump a joke once. Now he's just one McDonald's burp away from ending the world, so maybe I'm like the art critic who passed on Hitler's paintings. You know, just trying to pursue plan B. I'm part of the problem. But man, I was watching the Emmys, right? Saw they handed an award out, totally unexpected, kind of like finding a $10 bill in your old jeans. Pure unadulterated joy. Before the name was announced, you're just sitting there thinking, why do we do this yearly? This just seems silly.
Then you hear your name, man. It's like, this is true love. I saw a comedian, and I'm lucky enough to know them. Dan Levy was there. It's genuinely happy, like a Catholic and a Jew. Hearing good news at the same time, one is blown away, and the other is just waiting to see how they can make money off of it.
Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish bait and regret, always wearing a wife beater, even to church, right? Anyway, old Thibodeau, he thought he was a comedian, told jokes that would make a scarecrow blush, but he had this one about a crawfish walking into a bar.
Nah, I ain't telling it. It's terrible. But it reminds me, people are getting so touchy these days. Like, my country's going plumb crazy. You know, Bryan Cranston, that Breaking Bad dude, he played a paralyzed fella in a movie, and folks got all riled up saying, why ain't a real paralyzed dude playing it? Like, hello, it's called AC Teching, you dummies. Imagine a paralyzed dude trying to act paralyzed. That's just being still and reading lines. That ain't no performance. Reminds me of my buddy Bill. He's been doing all right for himself, you know? He was in this Pete Davidson movie. He says he didn't get fired, could get cut. You never know, but seems like it went great. First time getting to work with Judd Apatow for real, not just on Pete's show, Crashing, which, by the way, folks should check out next June. Get this, Bill's doing Mandalorian, the Star Wars thing, which is nuts because he's a sports fan. Meathead barely knows what a lightsaber is. I'm like, Bill, you in Star Wars. You know what that's like? It's like when Joe DeRosa met Joe Torre, told me about this guy connected with the Yankees, the manager, Joe Tutelage. I corrected him. It's Torre, and he's all, is he a big guy? Does he make that face? I wanted to strangle him. He just wanted to go buy vintage shirts, so I told Bill, this year payback for me meeting Joe Torre. Now you gotta wear a spacesuit that probably smells like Wookiee armpits, says he can't say much about it, all that Netflix secrecy, but you can see the back of his bald head in the trailer for half a second. That's because his head is a helmet already. Redundant to put a hat on a hat, like a clown wearing a second wig. That's how busy he is. He's finishing up season 4 of F is for Family, but stand-up's always #1, and he's always been generous, you know. Even when I was a nobody at the Comedy Store, he'd watch my sets, give me punchline tips, always believed in me. Even when I was getting booked on TV shows and forgetting about my own hour, he saw something in me. Cool vibe and knows how to unleash the craze, not like those guys who just yell and stay loud too long. Nah, Bill knows how to blow them back in their seats, then bring them back down smooth. It's a gift. I brought his name up the store, told everyone he's one of the nicest guys, and he came out and was like, you got to say that? I'm about to rant about people in wheelchairs. That means a lot. Being a newer comic, it's intimidating. But people did it for him, he remembers. Like Dave Chappelle told him something funny back in the early 2000s. He held on to that like a life raft in the comedy condos and hell rooms for years. Dave thinks I'm funny, he'd tell himself, kept him going. Even in the green room broom closets on the road, Bill said he was funny, carried him through those weekends. When you start out, you're lost, no confirmation, no roadmap, just looking around, seeing what other guys are doing, thinking you got to do the same, ping-ponging from one style to the next. Joe Kai comes in with a street team. Next thing you know, you're thinking you need a street team too, but it was just telling stories back at Nick's Comedy Stop, driving back in from Boston, finding the nearest comic, telling a story, getting a laugh, hearing the older guys telling their stories, wanting to have some yourself, something better than just a bad open mic. And then getting out on the road, hearing your friends suffer. That's where the comedy comes from. So remember, folks, go watch Bill Burr's special Paper Tiger on Netflix. Check out his tour dates at billburr.com. Listen to his Monday morning podcast, one of the best out there. And then maybe, just maybe, go call that weird neighbor you had growing up and tell them their jokes ain't that bad after all. Because honestly, folks, sometimes it's the Thibodeaus of the world that remind us what's truly funny, just like the time he tried to put a hat on a crawfish. Nah, I still can't tell you that one. It's just too dang awful. Man, I swear to God, reminds me of Uncle Hank back in Louisiana. Used to wear a tinfoil hat, said the government was listening through his fillings. Now this fella right here, he's like Uncle Hank, but instead of the government, it's me. Just me and my jokes, right? He's heckling me all night, quieter than a mouse pissing on cotton, front row seat, just for me. Every joke lands flatter than a pancake in a microwave, and he's whispering, "You suck, Theo, you're worse than day-old gas station sushi," and I'm trying to ignore him like a mosquito at a nudist colony, but eventually the dam bursts, you know? I snap like a Slim Jim in a freezer, and I tell him, "Buddy, you're about as useful as a screen door on a submarine." And the whole back of the room, they didn't hear a damn thing. They're all like, "Whoa, Theo, what's gotten into you?" They're siding with him. This dude who looks like he dresses exclusively from the Lost and Found at a bowling alley, and he's just eating it up, smiling like a possum eating a sweet potato. So I lay into him. I mean, I dissect him like a frog in a high school science class, and finally I get something about his haircut, looking like a Lego man after a car accident, and that's it. He's had enough. He storms the stage. This is where it gets good. I'm up on a riser, feeling like friggin' Gandalf holding back the Balrog. He's climbing the stairs, and I give him the nod, the international sign for "you shall not pass," and finally a bouncer shows up, looks like a retired rodeo clown, and escorts him out. Turns out, this dude was dressed head to toe in Star Wars gear from Comic-Con, so naturally I called him a virgin, and that's what finally pushed him over the edge. Which, I gotta say, maybe I went too far, but hey, sometimes the truth hurts more than a paper cut on your eyeball. Man, I'm down in Orange County, right? Real deal OC. Not that fake LA garbage. And I hear this story about a chopper dude. Pops built this tour business for 38, like clockwork, then hands it off to his son, American dream kind of stuff, right? Like, son, here's the keys. Don't screw it up. Keep the Von Erichs of helicopter tours going. And the kid's all right, Dad, love you too, gonna make you proud. Probably had 4 kids already, that traditional life they push on you. 5 days later, 5 days from balloons, and a congratulatory cake. This kid, he's probably barely got the script down. Like, yeah, folks, look to your left. Beautiful Orange County, 27 miles of beaches. Seatbelts, please. But only one dude shows up for a couple's tour. Red flag, right? But bills gotta get paid. So they hop in, 10 minutes in. This guy just yeets himself out the door like a reverse Houdini, straight into the Pacific. I'm thinking, what in the actual tarnation? 5 days in, this kid's already got a story that'll be on I Shouldn't Be Alive. But turns out, the jumper, a 61-year-old, was riddled with something awful. Chronic pain, doctors throwing up their hands. Figured he'd had enough, and in my book, that's a goddamn hero. He wasn't gonna go out like some sissy overdose on pills while watching The Notebook under Nana's quilt. No, he went full Evel Knievel. Think about it, soaring over the land he loved. Then bam, swan dive to freedom. Shoulda had a cape on, I'm telling ya. He probably had his feet on the dashboard, chugging a Dr. Pepper, not even listening to the tour spiel, just thinking adios. But here's the kicker. The cherry on top of this crazy sundae, the dude lived 500 feet above the ocean. You'd think that'd be a wrap. But he must have hit the water like Greg Louganis. Minimal splash. Except witnesses said it looked more like a mannequin getting tossed out, so probably a belly flop of epic proportions. Like a seal trying to do a cannonball. But listen, that don't change nothing. The intention was there. I still respect the hell out of this guy. I just feel bad cause on the way down he's probably thinking 3 more seconds of pain, 2 more seconds. Oh God, this is worse. This is way worse. It does have a happy-ish ending though. He passed away later at the hospital. So here's to him, God bless him, and I hope someday I have the sheer audacity to orchestrate a grand finale like that. Even if I botch the landing, just a dude trying to stick it to the man in the sky. Even if he just ends up looking like a big ol' sea pancake. All right, folks. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Possum Trot, Tennessee, population smaller than a Walmart on a Tuesday night, we didn't have no fancy math groups. No Blue Angels flying high. We just had smart kids and the rest of y'all, and I was definitely hanging out with the rest of y'all. Probably eating a moon pie and trying to figure out why the sky was blue, which, you know, is a deeper question than any algebra equation.
I swear it makes you think about stuff like how we're all just dust particles floating in the cosmos, kind of like those folks on Law and Order, always finding dead bodies in New York, which I gotta say I love that show, especially the one where the dude is unloading crates while the detectives are asking him about a triple homicide. Like, sir, your neighbor's been murdered and his cats are missing. And he's like, yeah, Tony Ramirez, Tuesday's box of bananas. I tell you, that reminds me of my Uncle Billy, who wouldn't stop whittling even when a tornado was coming. Said he had a wood spirit to appease anyway. Law and Order's just comfort food. You know, same story every time, like them Dollar General cookies that are always a little stale, but somehow you still eat them. And then there's Jerry Orbach, Lenny Briscoe himself. That guy was a legend. I miss him more than I miss my Aunt Mildred's potato salad at Thanksgiving, which, let me tell you, was a culinary crime against humanity, bless her heart. Jerry was the best. Always had that dry wit like a good shot of moonshine on a cold night. And then he went and died. And get this, they gave his eyeballs to 2 different New Yorkers. 2 different people walking around with Jerry Orbach, looking out at the world. Imagine the pressure. I mean, what if one of them starts making those little wisecracks at crime scenes like, looks like someone didn't pass their final exam. That'd be something. Or maybe they both fall in love. Like some kind of bizarre rom-com. Love at first sight. New York. 2 strangers meet, who only share a pair of deceased detectives' eyes. He likes football, she likes stocks, but then they stumble upon a dead body and at the same time they both just blurt out, well, class dismissed, as they gaze into each other's Jerry Orbach-y eyes.
So, I was talking to my buddy Earl the other day. Earl's got this pet raccoon named Stinky. Swears it can predict the weather anyhow. We were jawing about comedians, right? Like, who'd be good to run for, something, anything really, maybe even head of the homeowners association. The names they threw out, bless their cotton socks. Jon Stewart, sure. Makes sense, smart fella. Always got something to say. But then, bam, Bill Cosby out of left field. I mean, dang it, it's like suggesting your grandma for an MMA fight. Said something like, get him out of jail. Which, last I checked, Cosby's either too old or they already let him out. Maybe he's touring retirement homes with a Jell-O pudding show, who knows? I even saw Cosby do stand-up at a Jon Stewart benefit thing once. Wounded Warrior Project, before the whole pudding pop parade went south. And let me tell you, that act was darker than a black bear's armpit on a moonless less. I'm talking deep, unsettling. You're waiting for the punchline, but it just keeps getting more existential, like watching a squirrel try to bury a nut in concrete. Now, I ain't remember the specifics, something about cough syrup and airplane food, or maybe it was the other way around. It was before the accusations, like ancient history, so we were all kind of, sure, Bill, knock yourself out, thinking it was just regular old comedy, but now, looking back, that performance was a straight-up cry for help disguised as a Jell-O joke. And that's the thing about comedy, ain't it? It's like a canary in a coal mine. You can sense when someone's in a dark place. Kind of like Earl's raccoon Stinky when it starts hiding all the shiny objects. Right before a tornado, just a little unsettling feeling deep down in your gut that something's about to go sideways.
All right, folks, let me tell you something. Reminds me of my cousin Billy Bob, bless his heart, used to catch catfish with his bare hands down at the bayou, slick as all it could promise. And one time he reels in this monster, this flathead looking like it swallowed a bowling ball. And Billy Bob, he just stares at it, eyes wide as saucers, and says, why ain't you just something? Which is exactly what I thought when I saw this study, right? About how social media, that dang thing, is making us lonely, like a hound dog on a chain, They say folks compare themselves to these Instagram models, these perfectly filtered lives, thinking everyone's living in a damn magazine, which is bullcrap. Because I'm pretty sure half of them are using so much Photoshop they look like aliens trying to pass as humans at a Walmart convention. And it's making them feel bad, like they ain't good enough, which is a dang shame, because everyone's got something special, like my Aunt Mildred's potato salad. Looks like roadkill but tastes like heaven, so they're feeling left out, disconnected, like a landline in a cell phone world, and spending all their time online, looking for likes, instead of actually talking to folks face to face. Real human connection, like a hug from your grandma after a long day of shoveling manure. And it's a vicious cycle, a hamster wheel of sadness, where you just keep running and running but never get anywhere, never find true happiness, which, let's be honest, is probably just a warm plate of cornbread and a good dog anyway. So what I'm saying is, put down your phone, folks, go outside, talk to a neighbor,
pet a stray cat, maybe even learn to catch catfish with your bare hand. 'Cause life's too short to spend it chasing digital ghosts. And besides, that catfish might just teach you a thing or two about resilience, or at least give you a good story to tell next time you're standing in line at the Piggly Wiggly, trying not to compare your groceries to Miss Henderson's organic kale, which, let's face it, ain't never gonna happen, 'cause I am a simple man, and I like my Mountain Dew. Just don't be like my Uncle Dale, who thought the internet was a series of tubes, God rest his soul. I was at this Cracker Barrel down in Tickfall, Louisiana, right? Getting me some chicken and dumplings, you know, the real kind that'll clog your arteries faster than a 99 Ford pickup truck with a busted oil pan. And this dude, he's straight up sawing logs in the middle of the show. Just flat out knocked, drool and all. I'm thinking, man, I can't even sleep at home. Got this $300 pillow that feels like a brick. And this fella's out cold in a public theater. Like he's in his own personal sensory deprivation tank sponsored by NyQuil. Reminds me of my uncle, Earl. He used to fall asleep during Thanksgiving dinner face first in the cranberry sauce. Anyway, nobody touching him. No, sir, not on my watch. Louis C.K. probably wish he could be here to shine to see how he can get away with something on the borderline, but not fully illegal. But the dude, Miguel's his name, 25 years old, working construction. Now, usually that's where I'd launch into the old Mexicans taking our jobs routine, but then I find out he's working in the office construction. I never heard that. That makes him getting replaced by a Chinese or a robot, just straight up AI taking over the whole damn operation. But his boys, they covered for him. Said he was up all night arguing with his girlfriend, probably about some high-stakes Scrabble match or who gets to pick the next song on the jukebox. He bought his ticket himself and he is using it. You know, I haven't slept like that since I was a kid. And the only way I could do that was by going to the church on Sunday. And I know the dude shit in the stalls without any worry. And sleeps right in front of Jesus on Sunday. But I'm thinking, here's this dude, Miguel, living the dream, unconscious and carefree, while I'm up here battling insomnia like it's a goddamn UFC fight. We even dimmed the lights, played some spooky music, felt like a damn exorcism was about to go down, except the demon was just exhaustion. I even yelled, La Policia. Miguel didn't even flinch. I swear he could have been in a coma for 8 years, slumps on his 4th term, and he'd still be snoozing. He wakes up, and I thought he was dead, and he didn't remember anything. I asked, what was your favorite part? And he said, it's over, and now it's Saturday. Turns out the dude does both residential and commercial construction, the whole damn shebang. 25 years old, and worn out already. What's he going to be like when he hits 40? A human-shaped pile of dust held together by duct tape and caffeine. Still, he gave me an idea. Maybe I should start sleeping in public. Get some of that sweet, sweet Miguel level unconsciousness. Maybe even go to church, face Jesus, and shit in a stall like him. Who knows, might just cure my insomnia or at least give me some good material for the next show, but he is not worried about shitting and sleeping in public. So I was at this crawfish boil back home, right? Uncle Bobby, bless his heart, tries to deep fry a whole watermelon. I swear to God, he saw it on Pinterest. Anyway, it explodes like a damn grenade, watermelon shrapnel everywhere. Nobody gets hurt, just covered in sugary goo and regret, mostly Bobby's. Reminded me of this one time I wrestled a gator at a church camp. Don't ask. But it got me thinking about the Travel Channel, which, yeah, they call me a professional fun seeker. Sounds like something a robot would say after its programming goes haywire. I'd rather be called professional dumbass, because at least that sounds like me. I ain't fought no bear despite what the internet says, though I did once try to teach a possum to play the banjo. That's a story for another time and another bottle of sweet tea, but the Travel Channel's website is worse than dial-up internet in a Walmart parking lot. All right. So let me tell you something about growing up in the bayou. See, we had this pet raccoon, right? Named him Earl, because he looked like my Uncle Earl after a crawfish boil, all red-faced and kind of sideways. Anyway, Earl, bless his heart, he was dumber than a box of rocks, but he knew one thing, survival. And that reminds me, I saw this lady up front here sleeping like a possum in a sunbeam, and it just hit me. We're all just trying to survive, ain't we? Like this guy's trying to get his wife a Mai Tai for her birthday, bless his heart, and she's out cold, probably dreaming about saving lives at the hospital because she's a nurse tech, a real-life superhero, you know? And nurses, man, they're like cops. They deserve to unwind, get a little goofy, because they see some crazy stuff that would turn your hair white faster than a skunk at a Klan rally. But see, here's the thing, right? Everyone, and I mean everyone, gets a little cranky when they're hungry or sleepy. It's a universal truth, like gravity or the fact that grits are delicious. You know, my grandma used to say, a fed woman is a happy woman, and that's probably why my grandpa kept a jar of pickled okra in his pocket at all times, in case. So maybe this lady ain't cranky. Maybe she's just waiting for a man to finish telling the story. Because let's be honest, a good story is like a warm hug on a cold day or a perfectly fried catfish sandwich with extra tartar sauce. It just hits the spot, you know? And hey, if a little heckling makes it better, then bring it on, baby, because I'm just here to entertain like a banjo playing monkey at a county fair. Weird, maybe a little offensive, but you won't forget it anytime soon. Man, you know, growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish and regret. Always said, Theo, son, sometimes it pays to do a damn fool. And I never understood it till I saw my buddy Earl get fired from Bubba's Bait and Beer. See, Earl thought he was slick, thought he was a swamp ninja, kept tasting the inventory, you know, for quality control like he was sommelier or Bud Light. But Bubba, he ain't no dummy. Bubba's got eyes like a hawk and a heart full of diesel, so Bubba calls Earl in and says, Earl, you've been lubricating your tonsils a little too liberally, ain't you? And Earl, bless his pea-picking heart, he says, Bubba, I quit, like he's sticking it to the man. When Bubba was already halfway to writing him up for stealing beer, reminded me of when I tried to sneak out of Sunday school after the sermon about Noah's Ark. Thought I was being all sneaky like a damn raccoon in a hen house. But Miss Gertrude, bless her soul, she caught me by the ear. Said, where you think you going, Theodore? The good Lord sees everything. Which brings me to this whole thing about guys getting rewarded for being, well, less than stellar. Like this dude I saw online, bragging about quitting his job before they could fire him for, let's just say, unprofessional conduct. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like he's some kind of rep, a modern-day Robin Hood stealing from the less fortunate interns. Reminds me of my cousin Ricky who dropped out of community college, 'cause he said quantum physics was for nerds. Now he's trying to start a gator wrestling business. Says it's the next big thing. People are actually giving him money. Makes you wonder, don't it? Like, are we living in a world where the biggest goofballs get the gold stars? My other buddy's talking about cleaning boats. Claims he's turning his life around, right? Sure you are, but more likely he just ran out of bail money. These hangovers in my early 20s used to feel fun. Now every shot of Jack feels like one step closer to becoming a middle-aged guy who cleans boats and blames his daddy for his problems, dang. Okay, so growing up in Slaughter, Louisiana, we had this neighbor, bless his heart, named Cletus. Cletus thought he was pregnant one time. Swear to God. Said he had morning sickness and everything, probably just ate too many crawfish. You know how we do, which got me thinking about this whole lake situation people be getting themselves into. Like, you ever had fake sex? I mean, you might think you're tearing it up on your side of the bed, but sometimes it's just a phantom limb situation. Know what I'm saying? Reminds me of this dude I saw at the gas station. All bedazzled skull looking like Jumanji threw up on him, and I'm thinking, what kind of thug invests in rhinestones? He probably spent more on those little-ass diamonds than my whole damn truck. And that's saying something, 'cause my truck ain't pretty. It's like a rusty mullet on wheels. And speaking of things that ain't pretty, these fellas wearing suits look like they raided the Deacon's Closet, rocking those women's skinny jeans, thinking they're all that, but really they just look like a sausage trying to escape its casing. And I'm just saying, some people got too many teeth in their mouth, like a crocodile got hold of their chompers and just kept adding extras, you know. Which brings me to celebrities. Saw Lil Xan the other day, face tattoos and all, looking like a coloring book exploded. And I just want to yell at these kids, stop writing on your face. You ain't gonna get a job looking like a rejected Picasso painting. Then you got Shaq, bless his heart, 4-time MVP, Hall of Famer, but still hanging around Home Depot helping folks load lumber. Like he ain't got nothing better to do, which I guess he don't. Especially since he retired from the celebrity games. Think that man can't handle defeat when it's people like The Rock who done turned soft on us. His forehead looks like it's held on by Velcro nowadays. And then there's Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for showing too much skin. Which, let's be honest, I'd pay $1 million to see her naked again, because that lady is like a sunset over the Louisiana bayou. Pure magic. And these comedians like Kevin Hart bragging about all his houses like he's playing Monopoly with real money. Cabo, Miami, New York, Philly, Jersey. It's like, calm down, shorty. You gonna fall back and hit your soft spot. You know what they say about Hollywood, don't work with animals or kids, but I'd rather work with a monkey wearing a diaper than these comedians, acting like they are babies, constantly throwing tantrums. Probably got crayons smeared all over their designer suit. But you know what the real tragedy is? Them waking up in the morning reading the dictionary every day trying to seem smart when really,
Their lives are just like a bad crawfish boil. All the ingredients are there, but something just ain't right now, if you excuse. I got a date with some boudin and a six-pack. Because that, my friends, is the real soliloquy of life. Thank you and good night.
All right, so I went down to pick up my boomsticks, right? 2 of them. Kind of like that time me and Earl tried to catch a greased pig at the county fair. Only way more mowers. Had a shotgun too, but busted it the first day. Bless its heart. Thought I was getting that ka-chunk model, the one like in them westerns, but the fella done sold me the punt. Like a disappointed fart, you know? So I get there. This dude, Kevin, looks like a librarian who wrestled gators in his spare time. Tells me, Theo, brother, can't give you your pew-pews. I'm like, say what now, Kevin? He drops the bombshell. Paperwork's all jacked up. Bills in your wife's name. Trucks in the company's name. You're a ghost, son. Now, I started cackling like a hyena at a Tupperware party because all I could think was, damn, the system actually works. Felt safer knowing I couldn't get my hands on those things than if he just handed them over like candy corn at Halloween. Told him straight up, Kevin, this is beautiful, like seeing a squirrel water ski, but he just stared at me dead serious and said, oh, you're getting your damn guns. Suddenly felt like I was eating grits with a fork. Something just ain't right. Turns out Kevin, bless his heart, had a workaround. Called up my lovely bride. Told her to print out a blank lease. Write that I was renting a broom closet from her. Fax it over. And bam, problem solved. She about died laughing, said the place was booked solid with her imaginary yoga instructors. But she sent it anyway. Gotta love that woman. Got my guns. Love him like a stray dog. Loves a belly rub. See a gun in a movie. I'm calling Kevin faster than you can say sweet tea. Like when I off-Y, Agent Smith rocking that Desert Eagle. I had to have it. Kevin said California ain't playing that 50 caliber game, but he'd hook me up with a 40 and a workaround, bless his soul, and then tried to upsell me on an AR-15. Now, I ain't saying I'm irresponsible, but I did lose my Glock in the shower for 9 days. Felt like I'd lost a tooth or something. My wife, bless her heart, heard AR-15 and came storming in like a honey badger on bath salts yelling, is that some bitch trying to sell you another one of them? Killing machines. I told Kevin I ain't gonna be part of the problem. I'm gonna be the dang solution. No more lost guns, no more scared kids, just my Desert Eagle and a shotgun. She says that's the man I married, like I just cured cancer or something. Kevin asks if he's on speaker and then proceeds to tell me, in the event of an apocalypse, an AR-15 is the only way to protect my family. Like, Civ 6 are gonna give a dang about my southern charm. I couldn't help myself, I swear. I asked if he could get one with a bump stock. My wife promptly canceled my lease faster than a catfish can swallow a cricket. Guess I'll be sleeping in the doghouse with old Blue tonight. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me mail you something. Grew up in this town, see, smaller than a gnat's patootie, where the biggest excitement was when the Dollar General got a new shipment of off-brand cheese puffs. My mama, bless her heart, she used to say I had the social skills of a feral cat. For which, fair enough, because I preferred hanging with the stray dogs down by the creek, trying to teach them Shakespeare, because, you know, even mutts deserve a little culture. One time, I swear, I saw old Blue, hound dog, with one ear missing. I swear he almost understood Hamlet's soliloquy, or maybe he just wanted a biscuit. Hard to tell with dogs. They're kind of like politicians, always looking for something. But, see, that's how I always been. Connecting dots that ain't even close to each other, like trying to make a gourmet meal out of roadkill and ketchup packets, which, by the way, I actually tried once, don't recommend it. Anyway, all that to say, folks are always asking, Theo, how do you do it? How do you find the funny in everyday life? And I tell them it's like finding a 4-leaf clover in a cow pasture. You gotta wade through a whole lot of crap first. Which brings me to this thing about, like, people feeling disconnected. Like they're wandering through life wearing, socks with sandals, just completely missing the mark, you know? See, we're all just searching for something, a connection, a purpose, maybe just a decent Wi-Fi signal, but we get so caught up in the noise, the Instagram filters and the political arguments that sound like 2 squirrels fighting over a walnut. We forget to look around and see the actual real deal beauty, the goofy, imperfect, beautifully flawed human connections all around us. And we're so caught up in trying to be somebody else. Some Instagram influencer with a butt the size of a small car and a life that's probably as fake as a $3 bill, that we miss out on the chance to be ourselves, warts and all. Because let me tell you something,
Those warts, those flaws, those weird quirks that make you, you are the things that people actually connect with. That's the four-leaf clover. That's the good stuff. That's what makes life worth living. Even if you are wearing socks with sandals. And maybe, just maybe, especially if you are, 'cause hey, at least you're comfortable. And that's more than most people can say. And at the end of the day, ain't that what it's all about? Being comfortable in your own skin. Even if it's covered in mosquito bites and smells faintly of fertilizer. Just own it. Be you. Be weird. Be wonderful. And for the love of Pete, stop taking selfies with duck faces. Nobody wants to see that, unless you're actually a duck. Then go wild, quack it up, baby. Quack it up.
All right, folks, let me tell you about something I saw back home in Louisiana. This old fella, Cletus, bless his heart, he thought camouflage made him invisible, wore it at the grocery store. The bank even wore it to his own dang divorce hearing, claimed his wife couldn't see him to serve the papers. Judge wasn't buying it, looked at him like he was a squirrel trying to pay for nuts with bottle caps. But anyway, it reminded me of something way bigger, something on the news. See, it's like this whole China, Taiwan, Australia, America shebang. It's like Cletus trying to hide in plain sight, thinking nobody notices him stuffing crawfish down his overalls at the Piggly Wiggly, but really everybody's just politely pretending not to see. So this Taiwan thing, right? Everyone's all puffed up with their chests out, and I'm just, hang on a second, are we even gonna know who we're fighting anymore? I mean, you see how many folks are rocking those free Hong Kong shirts with the same kind of confused look I get when I try to assemble IKEA furniture. It's like trying to tell the difference between a possum and a raccoon in the dark. Both got pointy noses and beady eyes, and you probably don't want to mess with either one, you know? We're going to need some kind of system. Some kind of, I don't know, secret handshake, maybe a password like the crawfish boil is at Aunt Mildred's, and if they answer bring the boudin, then we know they're on our side otherwise. Well, it's going to be a real dang cluster, like trying to herd cats through a car wash, I'm telling you. And don't even get me started on the accent thing. I mean, I can barely understand my own mama when she's talking about the gizzard she found at the butcher shop. How am I supposed to decipher Mandarin, Taiwan, or whatever else they're speaking over there while the missiles are flying? So I'm just saying we need a plan, a real down-home common sense plan. Maybe we just give everyone a breathalyzer, whoever blows the highest wins, or maybe, just maybe, we all just sit down, share a plate of fried okra, and figure out how to avoid this whole mess in the first place, because war, folks, is like a hangover after a crawfish boil. Nobody really wins, and everyone ends up regretting something they did. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you about my Aunt Shirley. Sweet lady. Bless her heart. Used to collect porcelain dolls. Hundreds of them. Creepy little buggers staring at her like they knew your deepest, darkest secrets. Anyway, she swore one blinked at her once. Said it was a sign from Elvis, who apparently communicated through antique dolls now. That's about as believable as trying to explain something on the internet these days. It's all just absolutes, like that Kaepernick fella taking a knee, trying to talk about police brutality. Something real, something that needs addressing, but folks just heard knee and saw a flag and lost their dying minds. My brother's fighting in Iraq. They yell like Kaepernick's knee was causing sandstorms or something. It's like trying to explain to a squirrel that acorns are food, not currency. Just ain't gonna happen. Reminds me of trying to get abs. Remember that? Used to think I'm gonna have a six-pack by summer. Ended up looking like I swallowed a keg. The effort involved. Lord have mercy, personal trainers yelling at you. Chefs making you eat sprouts that taste like sadness. Electrocution making you question your life choices. All for something you can achieve by breathing wrong. Meanwhile, getting fat. Now that's effortless. Just lay on the couch, shoveling in those sweet, salty treasures like a dang gopher. No trainer needed. Just pure, unadulterated bliss. See, growing up, my family wasn't exactly huggy. More like two cacti trying to dance. Awkward and prickly. First hug I remember was when I moved out, and it was just bam, done. Like two parking meters bumping uglies. Haunts me to this day. I gotta yell at that memory sometimes just to shut it up. Shower regret is real. Let me tell you, that's where all the dumb stuff I did in third grade comes back to haunt me. But I asked my mama about the lack of affection. You know what she said? Your daddy didn't want me hugging you boys, might make you gay. Lord have mercy. That's like saying, eating grits will make you speak Cajun. It's just plain wrong. But she was protecting him. See, he was afraid of raising sissies. So he sacrificed our hugs for the sake of machismo. It's twisted, I know, but hear me out. That's family, right? My dad was trying to improve on his childhood. Probably grew up in a barn where affection was a sign of weakness. So he took it from don't change his diaper, let him wallow in his own filth, to no hugs or else. And maybe, just maybe, If I ever have a kid, I'll take it one step further. No drama class. I'll yell, not 'cause I hate drama. Well, maybe a little, but 'cause I'm improving on my dad's childhood. Keeping the grit. Tossing the hug phobia, you know? It's not homophobic, folks. Daddy issues. Manifested as a deep-seated fear of velvet costumes and interpretive dance. Unless we at Fame High School. Then throw cottage cheese at everybody. Man, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, population smaller than a Walmart on Black Friday, we had this neighbor, Cletus. Now, Cletus, bless his heart, thought squirrels were just rats with better PR, and he swore he could communicate with them using only kazoo music and moonshine fumes, which, looking back, might explain a lot about Cletus's life choices, like the time he tried to ride a gator into town, claiming it was his Uber anyway. That whole Cletus situation reminds me of this article I read the other day about how AI is supposed to be like revolutionizing customer service, right? Promising us these seamless, efficient, emotionally intelligent interactions like a customer service rep that never sleeps, never gets hangry, and never needs a bathroom break. Unlike my Aunt Shirley after a potluck, which can get dicey, but then you actually use these AI chatbots, and it's like talking to Cletus after he's had a bit too much of that squirrel whisperer juice. You ask a simple question like, where's my package? And it responds with something completely off the wall, like the meaning of life is 42, but have you considered the existential dread of being a digital assistant? I swear I asked one chatbot about my phone bill and it started reciting Shakespeare. Now Shakespeare is all well and good. I like a good sonnet as much as the next fella, but I just needed to know why I was being charged for data roaming when I was sitting in my own darn living room. But these chatbots, they're just going on about to be or not to be, and I'm like, to be connected to Wi-Fi or not to be? That is the question. Now answer me, you digital Cletus. And it's supposed to be getting better, but it's like teaching that gator to drive. You might get it to move forward eventually, but you're going to have a lot of fender benders and a few folks ending up in the bayou. And I'm just sitting here thinking, we're putting so much faith in these artificial brains, hoping they'll solve all our problems, when sometimes you just need a real human being, even if they smell like biscuits, and met their spouse on Ancestry Mingle. At least they'll understand the question, where's my damn package? Without launching into a soliloquy about the fleeting nature of existence. It's like that time Cletus tried to teach his parrot to say, I love you, and it only learned to mimic the sound of a rusty chainsaw. You get the technology, but you lose the soul. Come to think of it, is probably what happened to my Aunt Shirley after that last potluck. All right. Settle down, folks. You're looking good tonight. Real good. Reminds me of my cousin Skeeter's prize-winning hog, Mabel, all dressed up for the county fair. Shiny, expectant eyes, just hoping for a blue ribbon. Speaking of ribbons, I was helping my grandma, bless her heart, tie up her tomato plants last summer, and she says to me, Theo, life's like a tomato plant. You gotta stake it, give it support, otherwise it'll just sprawl all over the place, getting all tangled up in the weeds. Now, Grandma's a smart woman, but sometimes she chests in riddles like she's Yoda wearing a floral apron. They got me thinking about this Tom Brady fella. See, the GOAT, right? GOAT, they call him greatest of all time white guy, which, let me tell you, down in Louisiana, that's just a Tuesday. All right, so I was back home in Louisiana, right? Just the other day visiting my cousin Dale. Dale's got this pet raccoon named Ricky. And Ricky, I swear to God, he's got more self-awareness than half the people I went to high school with, including myself on Tuesdays. So Dale's trying to teach Ricky to play the harmonica, right? Harmonica, folks. This ain't no triangle. This is Louisiana blues we're talking about. And Ricky, bless his little bandit heart, he's just squeaking, sounding like a rusty gate, fighting a goose. But Dale's convinced he's about to unlock the secrets of the Delta. Anyway, watching Dale and Ricky got me thinking, about why we do things for ourselves, for other people, or maybe just to escape the sound of Ricky trying to play Amazing Grace. And it's like this whole waxing thing. I mean, I don't get it, but I kind of do, because it's like that needle, that anticipation, that little bit of trauma, and then bam, it's over. Kind of like watching Ricky play the harmonica, just a sudden burst of pain followed by a deep sense of relief. I saw this girl getting waxed, right? Talk about vulnerability, lying there naked, feeling like a crawfish at a boil, but she's doing it supposedly for the fellas, but let's be honest, it's for her, because feeling good, feeling clean, that's a feeling that's worth enduring the whole hairy situation, right? This one lady, Cindy, she reminds me of my grandma, always telling me things are going to be okay. Even when a tornado's ripping through your double wide, she's getting the girl waxed, talking about all the trauma, like being naked around people is easy as pie, which it ain't, unless your pie is made of anxiety and existential dread. Now, I ain't judging, 'cause I've been there, I've felt that fear. But what really got me was the idea that this is what women go through all the time, the pain, the awkwardness, the vulnerability, just to maintain a certain standard. And for what? For some dude who probably can't even tell the difference between a waxed leg and a freshly mowed lawn. I tell you what, next girlfriend I have, she's getting a lifetime supply of wax on my dime, because that's the least I can do for someone putting up with my Ricky harmonica impression. Man, I was just down at the Piggly Wiggly the other day, right? And this fella, bless his heart, he's trying to return a watermelon. Says it didn't taste like nothing. Like, what you expect? Sunshine, a symphony in your mouth. Anyways, it got me thinking, like, this whole putting yourself out there thing, you know? Like, when I first started doing that weird voice for Digman, that Nick Cage meets psychopath, I don't even think Nick Cage knows he's the muse. He's probably too busy wrestling alligators or something. He ain't watching Comedy Central, probably busy building pyramids out of his old scripts. But seriously, South Park's right before us, and those fans are die-hard. Been watching longer than my grandma's been making sweet tea, which is saying something. So all I'm asking is y'all, just leave the TV on, all right? Let Digman play in the background. All right, folks, let me tell you something. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this rooster, right? Meanest son of a gun you ever did see. Named him Secretary because he pecked at everything. Even the postman picture that a rooster hating on official mail delivery makes about as much sense as kale smoothies. Anyway, that rooster was a jerk, just like my luck on the road sometimes. 8 years back, I was a youngin' hitting the sauce a little too hard, stand up in Seattle, trying to woo a girl, but her friend, oh Lord, every 30 seconds not interested, then she could do better. Escalating like a bad banjo solo until she drops the bomb. You're very unattractive, and me drunk, I blurt out, get some more Botox, you lizard. Feel bad about that now. Real bad, although truth be told, in the moment, nailed it like shooting a crawdad in a barrel. But she got furious, or at least I think she did. Botox makes it hard to tell. You know? Then her boyfriend pops me one, deserved it, she was his lizard. And I respected the loyalty, like a hound dog sticking with its owner even if the owner's wearing Crocs, foreshadowing though. A month later, Cleveland, Ohio, LeBron had just left. City felt like everyone had just found out their chew toy had been recalled. Whole dang economic plan hitched to one dude, 'cause I love Cleveland. Good folks met this older woman after the show. Firecracker, but she's with a dude, just a friend. Valentine's Day though, so you know there's tension thick enough to spread on toast. He's buying me drinks to keep tabs. Me being the kind of guy who'd accept free gas even if it came from a skunk's tank, dude. Goes to the bathroom, I ask her if she wants to ditch, she says yes. And my escape plan. The bar next door. Genius. Pure genius, about as subtle as a herd of water buffalo in a library. We're doing making out. Romantic as a truck stop restroom. Finally ask her if she wants to leave, she says your hotel. So we step outside. And there's the dude missing teeth. Looking like he'd wrestled a badger for a biscuit and lost. Where the fuck do you think you're going? I admit the plan. Gonna bang her and fly back to New York, he says. Fight me first. Suddenly those teeth looking mighty important. I ain't no dummy, ain't ever had sex and thought, man, glad she ain't got teeth. Like who needs applesauce? I go into the hotel, grab me a Macintosh. I tell him I ain't gonna fight. He calls me a pussy. Then she leaves with him. Some weird arrangement, and then this dude in a white sweatsuit like a marshmallow peep escaped from Easter. Not sittin', not standin', just kinda perched. Loudly announces, I wasn't gonna let anything happen to you, claims he polices this. Not a cop, but a vigilante. The white knight drunk me's like, hell yeah, this guy's legit with a name, protects downtown Cleveland. Been stabbed twice, does it 'cause he loves Cleveland. Crazy but loyal, like a squirrel trying to bury a nut in concrete. Horrible trade for LeBron, but loyalty, you know? We stroll past the club, he sees my poster, says he could never do comedy. I say I could never do illegal and strange and alarming. A mutual admiration society asks why I don't have a Valentine. I say life choices and career. He says, me too. We're practically twins. Just one wears pajamas and the other tells dick jokes. He walks me back, says he's coming to the show. Exchanges information 'cause you gotta network even with superheroes. Wake up next morning, hangover the size of Texas. White knight email, gotta be him. Don't know that many, says he can't make the show. Sincerely, your new friend and fan, the White Knight Joshua. Makes me happy. Jews underrepresented as superheroes. Like finding a vegetarian at a barbecue.
Emails bounce back. He's like Batman disappearing into the shadows via email. Years pass. Then bam, another email. White Knight subject line. I reply, saw you on Conan, he's still out there. Then comes the kicker. He's married with a kid, living in the suburbs, traded white knighting for minivans, and soccer practice. Traitor. I tell him I'm in Naples. He says Italy. I say, yeah, guess even superheroes gotta grow up and face the fact that sometimes the real battle is getting the kids to eat their dang vegetables. Ain't that the truth?
All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we didn't have fancy stuff like, indoor plumbing that worked all the time, but we had Mama's chickens, bless their pea-sized brains. And one time, this rooster, old Cluck Norris, he was meaner than a junkyard dog with a toothache. Anyway, Cluck Norris decided my head was prime pecking real estate, so I'm running, screaming like a banshee, and Mama's yelling, boy, you gotta assert dominance. Show him who's boss. Now, I ain't never been good at bossing nobody except maybe my goldfish, Bubba, rest his soul, so I figured, all right, I'll try it. I square up to Cluck Norris, puff out my chest like I'm trying to audition for a Chippendale show at the VFW, and yell, I'm the boss. Cluck Norris just stares at me, cocks his head, then bam, pecks me right in the dang eyeball, and I'm thinking, this is exactly how my dating life's been, right? You try to assert yourself, be all confident, and some rooster of a situation just comes along and pecks your eye out. It's like that comedian, what's his name, Sam Burrell? Heard he won some laughing skull thing. Bless his heart, sounds like something you'd find on a backwoods roadkill menu. Anyway, the point is, dating is a train wreck, I swear. Talking to this girl the other night, sipping my bourbon, and I ain't sharing, mind you, bourbon's like sunshine in a bottle. Only tastes like regret the next morning. She says, that'll put hair on your chest. And I'm thinking, dang, gotta make sure I ain't growing no unexpected fur before I get intimate. Like checking the oil in a beat-up Ford pickup. You just gotta know what you're working with, It's a minefield out there, just like that time I kissed this girl at a party, hammered out of my gourd. She says she has a boyfriend, which is bad enough, but then hits me with the double rejection. Even if I didn't, I wouldn't be interested. Lord have mercy, it's like getting rejected from a job, and then the interviewer says, and you're also too ugly for this plant. Brutal, just brutal. But hey, my last girlfriend, bless her heart, she was on Ambien, so I never had to wear a condom, which is either a blessing or a sign. I got to invest in a hazmat suit, depending on how you look at it. See, it's like that dad on the elevator with the crying kids. Should have wore a condom, probably didn't pull out. Now he's at the parent-teacher conference getting lectured. Charlie's been misbehaving. He's just got to shrug and say, it's out of my hands, kind of like Cluck Norris pecking my eye. My own dad, met him 2 years ago, family-style restaurant. Ironic much. Should be broken family-style restaurants, right? You walk in, no waiter, just a note that says he left for cigarettes years ago, and for birthdays, instead of singing, they just whisper, we forgot, sorry, we'll make it up to you. And some random dude walks in and says, I don't even work here, I'm just banging the owner. It makes you wonder, Never played catch with my dad, but we played an epic game of hide and seek. He's still hiding. I guess he's good at it. Saw a homeless couple sleeping in the street once. Sad, ain't it? But hey, at least he has a girlfriend. Hope he ain't hitting her, 'cause that ain't domestic violence. That's a street fight, and street fights, well, they ain't pretty. Dating someone now, I think. She stopped shaving her legs. That's how you know it's serious, right? It's like checking the tread on your tires before a long road trip. Gotta be prepared for anything. She asked me my fantasy the other night. I said, I want you to dress like a nurse and tell me I have health insurance. Yeah, pathetic, I know, but honest. The other night, things got wild. She said, fuck me like it's your job. So I started checking my email, seeing when I could clock out. She wasn't impressed. And let's be honest, I keep inside it's going way too long. Like texting my friend Dan, do you want to suck my penis? Only funny to me, and Dan, my girlfriend, not so much. Sent it to her by accident. Awkward Thanksgiving dinner, to say the least. I miss being single sometimes, especially dating black chicks. But, that's a whole different sermon. And the N-word, well, white people created it. Black people get to use it. Kind of like Magnum condoms, big and intimidating, but not always necessary. Subway story. Last one, I swear,
with a girl I was dating. Pervert gets on, starts touching himself. She wants me to fight him. I'm thinking, I don't want to get hit with that hand, but she pushes me. I say, excuse me, sir, could you stop that? He says, I wasn't doing that to your girlfriend. I was doing that to you. And I'm right back to that feeling of Cluck Norris pecking my eye. You just never know what kind of rooster's going to come at you in this world, do you?
Man, let me tell you, I can't do those books on tape. Nah, not my jam. People try to make it sound all interesting with the voices and the up and down talking. It makes me want to crawl out of my skin because I'm thinking, this guy thinks I'm a friggin' idiot, you know? Like they're reading it like, and then in 1862, read it like a bailiff, man. You know the deal? I remember one time this bailiff read this thing, said the arresting officer asked the defendant where he was coming from, and he stated, in Boston. And I was like, whoa, hold on. That's not how I said it. I was hammered trying to remember. He asked where I came from. And I was like, fuck it, Boston. And the cop goes, fucking Boston? You want to get out of the car? I wasn't a jerk, though. I was standing there. All these people who mug folks were laughing like, this guy's sticking it to the man. So then he's like, we pulled the defendant over, repeatedly asked him to stay in the car. He got out, threw his keys at my feet, and said, lock me up. I'm fucked up. It was hilarious, right? Remember that dude who'd take his shot, and whenever anyone puked, he'd stand in the corner facing the wall. We called him Blair Witch. Everyone got there eventually, so I'm crying, laughing, gagging as I tell the story, and my girl's like, where do they find these people? That sent me over the edge, man. Just crying, laughing, but God bless him, because the reason that thing's screaming is because it's biting its own back, which honestly sounds like me trying to touch my toes every morning, you know? Anyway, where do we go from there? I don't know, maybe you get eaten by a bear. And if a bear gets a hold of a regular neck just complies, just gives right up. Heck, you should call your neck special regular neck. I guarantee no one's going to accidentally steal that title. Speaking of weirdos, there was this dude on a construction site, wore the same jeans every day, no underwear, and a giant hole in the thigh. I swear I'm working in the house and he steps over something. The hole moves and bam, full-on junk flash right in my face. I didn't know how to confront people back then, and I was the new guy, so I just wanted to be like, buddy, maybe throw on some boxers so I don't gotta stare at your dangly bits. Especially since he's walking around with a nail gun. Boxers might not stop a nail, but any extra layer of clothing would be nice, you know? He was just letting it all hang out like an owl looking out of a tree, and it's burned into my brain I could pick his junk out of a lineup, and all those people paying to be there. That guy's making bank, man. I want to see someone scalping tickets to see his junk. He does Vegas, too, at the T-Mobile Arena. I want to see a picture of him up there, eyes open, smiling and everything. It's crazy the money he's making. I used to say he's so full of it, he can't look at the crowd like his eyes are checking. Are they still here, still believe in this beat? When you're lying, eye contact's the toughest thing ever, but whatever, he's making people feel good. He's in show business. I want to see the show, though. The few times I did movies, everyone was like, you just missed it, man. It all ended in '05. They were like, oh my God, they were paying for John Travolta's jet fuel. He'd show up in his own 747 to do one of those Wild Hogs movies, and they'd be like, okay, John, gotta pay for the plane. And they're like, oh, John, like it's just understood. It goes without saying, if someone swipes your credit card number, that's their money now, right? Then they call you up and say, hey, Joe, did you buy a ham hock at Vancouver at a strip club? And you're like, what? No, I was in Burbank. And they say, good luck with that. Has anyone ever bought a ham hock in a strip club? Man, you've given me every piece of the elk except that I've got some ham hock for you. What do you fantasize about doing to the credit card thief, though? Oh, just running, just getting the heck away. I don't want to hurt him. The guy's hurt by life, so damaged. I just want to get gone. I always picture those scammer folks, and I have a giant roll of duct tape, and I just put it on their mouth like a cartoon, not like Speed, more like cartoon level. I put it on their mouth and go, And the last one comes up and over their head, the rest of the roll hanging down awkwardly, and I just go back to eating, and they got to sit there and slowly peel it off. The only way I could get through that basketball game was if I already told my wife the guy annoyed me, and then I'd just egg him on. Why doesn't he play him? And she'd start kicking me under the table because she was laughing. Hey, everyone, I'm Ivanka Trump. She's like Tracy Lord's sister in the 80s, got good-looking kids, amazing. She's good-looking, too. Good for him, good for him. And if Bill Clinton wants to vaguely look in the direction of a beautiful woman, that's his right, you know? All right. West Palm Beach, or is it Palm Beach? Either way, it's hot. Just like that time my Uncle Buster tried to deep fry watermelon at the county fair. Total disaster. Speaking of disasters, someone back there yelled pressure, but they don't even know why. What in the tarnation? It's like asking a goat to explain quantum physics. Ain't gonna happen, folks. You know, I once asked my Aunt Shirley what the capital of Nebraska was, and she said tractors. True story. But this woman, she's right up there with Shirley, bless her heart. Big Latino fellow over here, though, looking sharp. Oscar, they call him. Probably gets all the Cuban votes just by going up, head held high like a pelican looking for a stray fish. 6'3", built like a brick outhouse, as my grandpa used to say. And that hair looks like it was sculpted by Michelangelo himself out of Lego bricks. Poor bald guy next to him is probably ready to throw his dentures at the stage. Now this woman, she's with Oscar, his girlfriend, at 28. Honey, back in my neck of the woods, you ain't married by 28. They start whispering at you like you got a third eye or something. But she's Colombian, you know, different rules apply. It's like comparing a possum to a raccoon, and they both dig in the trash, but they got their own ways. Yeah, Colombians, they got arepas, right? That's it's a claim to fame. Oh, and that sniff? No, that ain't what you thinking, folks. Why, probably just a stray pollen particle from one of those fancy Colombian flowers, making them look like they're auditioning for a role in Scarface. Speaking of faces, this woman, the one who knows everything now, suddenly an expert, like she just downloaded the entire internet into her brain while we were talking about watermelons and bald guys. But I bet she didn't know they got fake noses over there. Probably hollowed out on the inside to fit all the extra memories, or maybe just to snort arepa seasoning more efficiently. I don't know. I'm just a country boy trying to make sense of it all, one bizarre observation at a time. I tell you what, a few weeks back, my email got ransacked at like a trailer park after a tornado, but it had this weird silver lining, you know. It was one of them deals where they crack into your digital mailbox and start slinging spam links to everybody you ever even side-eyed in your address book. So basically, I became a digital typhoid Mary, spreading a rash of weirdness to all my contacts, which honestly was kind of like killing two birds with one stone because I'm terrible at keeping up with folks. I'm like a hermit crab with a smartphone. Consider it my Christmas card for the year, a digital thinking of you with a hint of identity theft. And then, bless their cotton socks, everybody emailed back to tell me I'd been hacked. It was like a digital baby shower, folks, crawling out of the woodwork to send their well wishes and warnings. Email viruses, man, they bring folks together in ways you wouldn't believe, like a potluck after a hurricane. Now, get this, one fella I know, bless his heart, emails me back saying, I quote, "Hey, clicked on the link you sent. Don't want to buy any herbal Viagra." Dead serious, this ain't no comedian. I've known him 17 years. He's dumber than a box of hair. That's the long and short of it. So, a few things tickled me about this whole shebang. First off, who in the name of Dale Earnhardt still clicks on spam links? And this link, mind you, looked like it was cooked up in a meth lab, dollar signs and swastikas, like HPV wrote a website. He gets this in a blank email and thinks, yep, that's the ticket. Clicks on it with gusto and then gets whisked away to a website selling this herbal Viagra. And his first thought is, Theo's getting into the snake oil business. But you know what kind of stung my biscuit? The thought that he figured that's how I'd hawk herbal Viagra, like I'm some kind of backwoods huckster just dropping links in blank emails with the subject line, "Check this out," which, by the way, ain't never been said by me in my entire life. If I was going to spam everybody I ever met about some shady new hustle, I'd pen a damn novel of an intro letter first. Dear friends and family, comedy didn't pan out. Turns out folks ain't paying to hear about my childhood in rural Louisiana. But have you ever hankered for some Viagra, but feared the side effects of the non-herbal kinda? Well, me and my Cayman Islands business partners got the remedy. Click on the swastika below and be whisked away to the world's ugliest website. Hope you can read pink on purple, because that's the layout we chose. Thank you, and may the Lord be with you. That's how I roll. Ain't no half-stepping. And speaking of time, I crossed the 30-year mark recently, which changes how you watch movies, you know? When I was a rugrat watching action flicks, I'd identify with the hero, the fella trying to save the day. Now, I only relate to the side characters, the ones rolling their eyes in the corner like the dudes who'd have to deal with Spider-Man's dry cleaning. That's where I'm at now. You know who my hero was growing up? Michael J. Fox's Marty McFly in Back to the Future. Love that dude. Want to be him. But I watched that movie again recently, and Marty McFly is a 17-year-old high school student. His best friend is a disgraced nuclear physicist. And I swear to God, they never explain how they became friends. And we were all just cool with it. Nobody batted an eye. We were just like, who's his best friend? A disgraced nuclear physicist? Okay, yeah, proceed. Yep, that checks out. Proceed with the movie. Back to the Future is a classic, no doubt, but it's a downright bizarre movie. I'm telling you. Imagine the pitch meeting. Two fellas strolling into a movie studio saying, okay, we got an idea for the next big family action movie. It's about a fella named Marty. He's a high school student. real lazy, always sleeping late. The studio guys are like, okay, is he cool like Ferris Bueller? And the writers are like, nah, but he's got a best friend. Yeah? Who's that? Oh, just a disgraced nuclear physicist. I'm sorry, is this another student? Oh, no. This other guy's like 40 or 80. We ain't sure how old he's supposed to be. Anyway, so one day, the boy and the scientist, they build a time machine. Whoa. Okay, I see where this is going. Let me guess. They build a time machine and go back in time and stop the Kennedy assassination. Oh, no. It's a real good idea. We didn't even think of that. Okay, well, what do they do with the time machine? Well, now I'm embarrassed to say. All right, here goes nothing. We thought it'd be fun if the boy, went back in time and tried to make moves on his own mama. So we thought that'd be a hoot. And then, oh yeah, no, but don't worry, he doesn't actually get to Netflix and chill with his mom because this family friend named Biff shows up and tries to have his way with her in front of the son. And then the dad, he has to defend her honor. And we're also going to say that a white man wrote Johnny B. Good. So we're going to take that away from them too, just for kicks. Well, this sounds like a fantastic movie. We are definitely going to make this. Now, you say they go to the past. You want to call it Back to the Past? No. Back to the Future. Right, but they go to the past.
Yeah.
But it's like, what? Sweet tea is going on. All right, so I was back home in Louisiana last week, right? And my cousin Earl, bless his heart, he's got this whole thing about wasps. Like, he's convinced they're government drones or something, so he's out there with a badminton racket swinging like he's playing Wimbledon against the deep state. And he says to me, he goes, Theo, you got to get wasp spray. It's the ultimate defense. Now, Earl's a good dude, but he also believes Bigfoot's running a meth lab in the Washington National Forest, so I take his advice with a grain of that pink Himalayan salt, the kind that rich folks think makes their water taste better, but it's really just salt anyway. This whole wasp spray thing, it reminds me of that time I saw a dude try to rob a convenience store with a rubber chicken, thought he was being all sneaky, but the cashier just started laughing. Point is, some things just ain't gonna work, like Earl's wasp killing strategy or trying to pay your taxes with Monopoly money. See, that's how this whole sex offender situation is. People think, oh, I'll just blast him with wasp spray, that'll teach him. But hold on there, Skippy, that stuff's for wasps, and even then, Earl ain't had much luck. Plus, you're gonna end up in court with some lawyer, charges by the nanosecond, arguing about whether you were defending yourself or just trying to reenact a scene from Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. Pepper spray. That's the real deal. It's like the difference between a rusty butter knife and a ninja sword. One's going to get the job done. The other's going to leave you looking like a fool and about taking care of business yourself. That's like trying to fix your own car engine after watching one YouTube video. You might think you know what you're doing, but you're probably just going to make things worse. Wear gloves, a mask. That's smart, like wearing a condom to a disco. You're prepared for anything. And this whole shake weight thing, I mean, come on, that's like bringing a spork to a steakhouse. It ain't going to cut it. Semen's a biohazard. Yeah, that'll get someone's attention, like telling a vegetarian he's about to eat a plate of bacon-wrapped scallops, but honestly, do your thing in your own space, just not in front of the ladies and children. It's like playing the banjo naked on a trampoline, fun for you maybe, but not a sight for anyone else to see, but don't be ridiculous or anything. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana. See, around these guys who thought camouflage was formal wear, Had this buddy Earl, sweetest guy, but dumber than a box of rocks. One time, Earl swore he saw Bigfoot riding a lawnmower down by the bayou. Swear to God. Earl believed anything. But you know what Earl wouldn't believe? Crime documentaries. Nah, he'd rather watch squirrels fight over a pecan. Yeah, I love him. Always have. Even had a date once. Beautiful girl. Real sweet until she dropped the bomb that her daddy was all over the John Benet Ramsey case. I swear I forgot all about the date. Just peppered her with questions about the case. Poor girl probably thought I was a weirdo. No second date, naturally. Always wanted to solve a crime, though felt like my calling, kind of like how Earl felt about Bigfoot. So, a few months back, I'm home from tour and, recreating from shaking hands and pretending to care about other people's problems. I go outside and my rave for, blessed be its name. It's been violated. Not like a Gone Girl situation, but still. Someone had rummaged through it. And get this, they left a hat, a freaking baseball cap. Aha. I yell like I'm finally catching a greased pig at the county fair. I'd been burglarized before, but this was evidence. So I run inside, grab my surgical gloves. Yeah, I own surgical gloves, don't judge. And a Ziploc bag. Dimmered something about Dennis Fong messing up the DNA in the OJ case because it got too warm. I wasn't going to be no Dennis Fong ruining evidence with the California sunshine. I carefully bagged that hat, CSI style, even though my car's interior looks like a hobo's backpack after a tornado. Then I stuck that sucker in the fridge, right next to the wilting lettuce, and my wife's leftover quinoa salad she keeps telling me is good. Called the LAPD, stood out front like Deputy Fife, waiting for the cavalry, thinking, don't worry, fellas, Vaughn's on the case. They show up, these two cops looking like they'd rather be eating donuts ask, what's the situation? I tell them about the break-in. They ask if the window was broken. I told them, nah, I leave it unlocked now because these LA thugs gonna bust a window if I don't. And that's just rude. So they ask what was stolen, and I told them I have no earthly idea what's in my car. It's basically a rotating museum of forgotten sunglasses, old snack wrappers, and my wife's collection of crystals she swear keeps the demons away, but I suspect mostly collects dust under the seat. I say, but this time we gotta break in the case. I led them inside like I'm leading tourists through a creepy haunted house, pulled out the hat like I'm present in the Mona Lisa. He left his hat, I exclaim. Yeah. They're like, okay. I ask if they can run it through CODIS, like on Law & Order. Get a hit on the perp. They look at me like I'm speaking Swahili. Why would we do that, they ask. I'm floored, because he committed a crime. They were like, barely. You left the car open, nothing was stolen, maybe trespassing, but we ain't running no national DNA search over that. I was flabbergasted. Then like a bolt of lightning hitting a cow pasture, it hit me. I told them, you can frame it as the guy gave you a hat, a thoughtful yet misguided gift from a budding criminal. I am real glass half full type guy, you see. They still didn't budge. Full. I told them, look, this could escalate. It's a there for tomorrow it's an escalade. Then a whole HOA community watch group is dead in the ditch. But I say, Manson, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but he was a lousy guy, right? He started small, creeping around people's houses. Then he got big ideas. So I ask, don't you want this guy's DNA on file before he graduates from petty theft to start a podcast about murdering people in his basement? They were like, what file? What are you talking about? And I said, the one where you keep the DNA of potential murderers. They said the only way they'd need his DNA profile is if, and I jumped in, if he murders somebody. And then I remembered that sometimes serial killers like to help the police, So I just kept talking about this guy in the third person like he was some kind of criminal mastermind. He's cunning, I said, but he will be back. Then I remembered my friend down the street. Her car got broken into too. I told the cops, go talk to her. Tell her to say something was stolen just to get that hat back in the national system, which apparently is framing someone for a crime. But hey, I'm willing to bend the rules to get these guys behind bars. So if you're out there, car thief, know this, you messed with the wrong RAV4. You'll quickly realize I have no valuables, maybe some spare beef jerky and a lot of regret for ordering that weird coffee from the airport and a bunch of dirt on the carpet. Oh, and that's my dirt. So folks, that's the story of how I almost became a forensic genius. But hey, at least I got a good story out of it. And speaking of good stories, Big Mouth is back. It's based on Nick Kroll and Andrew Goldberg's friendship, and it's fantastic. I get to voice Andrew alongside my very good friend Nick Kroll. It's a fantastic show, and I'm excited to announce its second season. All right. How we doing tonight? Y'all good? You look good. Even you in the back with that thing you call a shirt. Bless your heart. Reminds me of my cousin Dale. Bless his soul. Always wore shirts, 2 sizes too small. Said he kept his power source contained. Dale was a plumber, and by power source, I think he meant his beer gut and the methane factory behind it. Anyway, Dale also loved those true crime shows, the ones about guys who, let's just say their power source was pointed in a different direction, It's wild, right? These ladies are glued to these shows about dudes doing unspeakable things that make a honey badger blush, but then you'll go walk alone in the dark listening to true crime podcasts like you're researching your own demise. It's like watching a documentary about bear attacks and then going camping with nothing but a harmonica and a dream. Now me, I saw one of them shows about a guy terrorizing joggers at dawn, and I haven't jogged since. I'm talking flat out retired from the whole dang exercise scene. You try to get me on a treadmill now, I'll look at you like you just asked me to wrestle a gator in my underwear. It's all bench press and protect the posterior from here on out, boys. Can forget that rowing machine. That's just begging for trouble. Out there looking all vulnerable. Can you imagine the headline? Theo Von, renowned intellectual and connoisseur of gas station sushi, assaulted on rowing machine. No, sir, not on my watch. Ah, you bet your sweet bippy if some creep's chasing me in the park, stark naked and fueled by pure malice, I'm not just jogging, I'm entering the dang Olympics. Usain Bolt levels of speed, high knees and all. That's right, Schultz wasn't jogging in the park at night, son. He was auditioning for the Fast and the Furious with 7. All right, so check this out. I was back home in Hartsville, South Carolina, where the fireflies are brighter than your future and the church is the main form of entertainment. And my buddy Billy Bob, now Billy Bob, bless his heart, he believed he was a direct descendant of Davy Crockett. Only instead of a coonskin cap, he wore a fedora he found at the Piggly Wiggly Lost and Found, and instead of fighting bears, he wrestled raccoons in his backyard, kept them as pets, named him after country singers, had a whole dang family of Whalens and Tammys living under his porch. Anyway, Billy Bob, he gets it in his head that he's going to start a kissing booth at the county fair, charges a nickel a smooch, says he's got lips touched by the angels, but the only angel touching those lips was probably Aunt Shirley after one too many communion wines. Point is, nobody's paying Billy Bob to kiss him, not even the hogs, which brings me to this Halle Berry thing. See, I got Halle Berry, Academy Award winning Halle Berry on my movie, right? And she's down there and I'm thinking, Kev, you mess around and kiss this woman right now or you're going to regret it till you die, because this isn't just any kiss. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity to experience lips sculpted by the gods, lips that probably taste like, I know, sunshine and privilege. And I almost choked, right? I almost turned down kissing Halle Berry, like telling a waitress you don't want free pie, because I was engaged at the time and I didn't want her thinking I was some kind of heathen or something, like, oh, this dude just used me to get with Halle Berry, what a dirtbag. And she was so sweet, man. Halle Berry's like a unicorn mixed with a bottle of champagne and a dash of sassy grandma. She came on set, killed it, brought a level of magic only Halle Berry can. And I'm there the whole time thinking it was a big deal that she was in my film, and then I realized it was a big deal for her to be in the film because it's Halle Berry doing a version of Halle Berry no one's ever seen, which is the real treasure. But I'm still kicking myself now. Should have just gone for it. Should have risked it all for a taste of those legendary lips. I mean, let's be real. I was sporting lumber the entire time. Felt like I had a dang flagpole down there. I mean, I don't know how to explain it to you. So we got it edited out. Thank God for post-production. But lesson learned, always kiss Halle Berry if given the opportunity, because life is too short to play it safe. And who knows, maybe those lips actually do smell like roses and cinnamon. A real heartbreaker. Anyway, the whole point of the movie is my dog, but now you all are being racist, which isn't good, which you can see in Kevin Hart, What Now, only in theaters. Man, Montreal, y'all are all right. Reminds me of shrimping back in Tickfall, Louisiana, where the only thing louder than the mosquitoes was my Aunt Shirley and Uncle Dale for drinking all the RC Cola again. That woman's voice could peel paint off a barn from 50 yards. That's the thing about women, ain't it? Up close, whispering sweet nothings could launch 1,000 ships, but try hearing them at a football game. Sounds like two squirrels fighting over a dropped pickle. Now that brings me to this whole first lady business. See, my grandma used to say, a chicken ain't got no business in the hen house if it ain't laying no eggs. And I'm thinking, these first ladies, bless their hearts, they ain't elected, they ain't paying the bills. So why they gotta be running their mouths like a hound dog chasing a mail truck? Like, if you hire a fella to fix your leaky faucet, and his wife, who ain't never held a wrench in her life, starts telling him to reroute the pipes through the attic, you gonna look at her sideways, right? Just 'cause you're married to the plumber don't make you a plumber. Now I'm hearing whispers about Hillary getting back in the game and scratching my head. How'd she become a senator anyway? Went straight from being the president's missus to sitting in Congress. Like she jumped the line at the crawfish boil. Should Tom Brady's wife be calling the plays for the Rams just 'cause she married a football player? Ain't no magic powers transferred through matrimony. This all started with Nancy Reagan, bless her soul, waving her bony finger and telling us to just say no, like we was all just waiting for permission to quit huffing paint thinner. Than Hillary with her health care plan. Michelle preaching on 60 Minutes, gotta give it to the Bushes though, they kept their women in line. Barbara was silent as a church mouse, and the other one, Paige or Bethany, something like that, I ain't even sure of her name, but Dub had her on lockdown tighter than Fort Knox, made sure she smiled and nodded when he told a joke. Now I'm hearing folks say a woman president's gonna change things, but I ain't buying it. The president makes, what, 400 grand a year? Try telling that to a Wall Street banker with $100 million bonus. Ain't gonna make a lick of difference if they got a dick or a clam, black or white. Nothing's gonna change till somebody gets froggy and starts going full Rambo on those gated communities, taking out the folks pulling the strings. Until then, it's just gonna be a different pair of tits telling us the same old song and dance. I'm staying at a hotel here. Love hotels, feel safe, lobby full of folks like a human shield. If some axe murderer comes strolling, hear the scream. Got time to plan, barricade the door, turn on the shower, hide between the mattresses. Good old misdirection. Used to stay in motels, now there's a recipe for a heart attack.
sleeping 2 feet from a door leading straight to the parking lot. Any yahoo can kick it open, drag you out buck naked. Ain't nothing scarier than facing a chainsaw massacre in your underpants. You tell yourself you'll fight back, grab a lamp. But deep down, you know you'll just squeak like a chew toy and end up seeing nothing but carpet ceiling, looking back at your own pasty body anyway. This theater's alright. At least nobody said it's haunted. Every damn time you go to a theater, they gotta tell you about the ghost. Built-in 48 tribute to Rocket Richard. And we got a ghost named Michael. If you believe in ghosts past the age of 8, you're dumber than a box of rocks. What's the end game for a ghost anyway? On a basement forever, waiting to spook the boiler repairman? If I was a ghost, I'd fly straight to the CIA headquarters, sit in on meetings, go to the Super Bowl, find out what they're really saying in the HUD, and spend an eternity trying to scare an accountant into solving my murder. I'd be looking for that damn RC Cola. That's where the real secrets are.
All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Reminds me of the time my cousin, Skeeter, tried to train a squirrel to water ski on Lake Pontchartrain.
Real deal.
Skeeter was convinced he could make this squirrel a star, had this whole contraption rigged up with toothpicks and a tiny styrofoam board looking like something out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Now, Skeeter, bless his heart, ain't exactly mental material, more like a box of rocks with a mullet, but he's got this unwavering belief in the absurd, you know? Anyway, this squirrel named Nutsy, by the way, because Skeeter ain't exactly creative either, just kept swimming back to shore looking at Skeeter like he was speaking Martian. Skeeter got frustrated, started yelling at the squirrel, "Hold on tight, Nutsy, you gotta commit." Made me think about these comedians getting booed off stage, feeling like that squirrel just wanted out of there, looking at the crowd like y'all speaking Martian or something. See, there's something primal about stand-up. It's like bare-knuckle fighting with words. You gotta walk out there naked as a jaybird and tell a room full of strangers that you're funnier than they are. Lucy, 국장 트릭 주죠, 프로 API.